glass of water, which I became prepared this time because I went out and bought sweet tea.
Hi everyone. Well, this is where
Oh,
the
we
VOD
started?
will
Hello.
start. This is where the
Water,
VOD will
which I
start.
became prepared this time because
You
I
sure
went
about
out and bought sweet tea. VOD.
Hi everyone.
Might cut it out.
Well, this is
Technical.
where the piss off the video preview replay thing. Don't be playing my voice twice. That's too much me for the world to handle. The world will literally be blown. What?
I was going to say something about just one of you's more than enough, and we don't need any more, but sure.
Right, I
too
should
much
probably
space
open up some
and
of my
all the-
windows slightly more.
Too much me and everyone in the general vicinity just starts to go insane.
You know that Google document I said was like 5 pages long? It also has links to different things just so I don't have to have 1,000 tabs open
Oh,
when I
dear.
start.
Oh,
Is it this link if they get this role, and this link if they go here? That sort of thing?
It's more akin to it's this link if they do this, or this link if they do that.
Pretty much what I just said.
Also, in this document, there is literally what I put into the into the D&D chat of quite literally where it just says Cerno's pillar tick.
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently.
So I don't.
Apparently, there's. I mean, maybe I've been playing too much patty cake or something. I don't know.
I feel like somewhere during the 2 week, Agnes would have had a stern talking person. You need to stop this.
I almost spit out my drink. Why?
Also, I need to add something. I'm adding possession.
Oh.
To
I've already had my possession.
dried. Drow elf ears.
Oh wow, okay. Did you get the 2 potions that I...
Yes,
Yes,
Ninja
it's already
has
in
them.
the
I
thing.
added them.
Nate's passed stuff around.
I need to figure out a way how to divide all of this money that I have in my pockets right now.
Oh yeah, question for Ninja. Would Bor have asked for his money that Agnes has been lugging around?
Probably. I feel like.
I mean,
Or
he
Bor's
doesn't have
probably-
to ask.
I mean, I feel like Bo's forgotten at this point because he has more money now.
Sure, fine. Agnes will keep it. I'm happy with this.
I mean, Bo will probably most likely forget. I mean, it's Bo.
Then that's fine.
No, this is the drawing sketchbook. Where's the other sketchbook? Not sketchbook. Oh, biscuit eater. Where is it?
Need to be in character. Would Bor have asked? If not, then Agnes keeps the money.
He probably
She wouldn't
forgot,
have-
honestly.
She wouldn't have reminded him.
I know
So
she
I-
wouldn't.
Would she give him... Wait. Are we supposed to be
She
paying
gave
for-
every a while back.
You can pay
Saving
beforehand.
Gundren. Everyone asked for their money back apart from Bor, who had already walked out the room, and therefore Agnes didn't give it to him.
Oh, right.
And Bo most likely has forgotten about all his money.
Boy.
Yeah, well, Cerno's
Yeah.
loaded, so...
I mean, so am I. Do you want to compare how much money we have?
Because Cerno picked up a load of money and didn't share it.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people have done that.
True.
Calling the
True.
fiddle back.
True.
We'd be really bad at anything. True, I can't argue with pure facts.
Yeah. But Agnes gives them their money if they're due it and they ask for it. She just doesn't bring it up.
She just doesn't remind them conveniently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's not her fault.
She is the Vaxalia of the group.
No, Vax dished it out.
Yeah.
And it's also Vex.
Vex.
Vax
Oh,
was...
oops. I'm
it's
sorry. I
Vax'll
keep
Dawn
forgetting. I'm
and
sorry.
Vexalia. Right, well, I guess we should start, shall we?
Cherno's pillow. What the fuck?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. After having finally completed the seemingly growing list of tasks around Fandalen, the party has taken a small yet well-earned break. However, this was not until they had done one more remaining task. Upon finishing Upon finishing clearing out the undead and other infestations in Wave Echo Cave and returning to Fundalin, they rested, drinking and eating their fill. The next morning, the party set off for the old castle ruins they had visited once before. The remainder of the Cragmore tribe, being locked in a power struggle as new leadership was failing to be appointed, quickly found themselves with more funerals to plan. The party cleared out the rest of the old decaying castle, removing the Cragmores completely. Upon returning, you were each paid 100 gold. You can add that to your sheets now, for emptying the castle as Silda had requested.
Wait, how much?
100
100.
gold.
Okay, sorry.
Gundren Rockseeker, your now former employer, requested you seek him out after 10 days so he could formulate and find the payment for your deeds. So, with several days to kill, the party went slightly separate ways to take care of some more personal errands. The trio of Agnes, Arsene, and Boar set off to the great city they had started this journey in, each seeking to learn more on one topic or another within Neverwinter, and each taking their own approach to information gathering. Cerno took a step away from civilization, taking the time to hone some of his skills. After a few failed attempts, he was able to infuse the right herbs with arcane and divine magics, creating a couple of simple healing potions that now reside with Boar. During this study, he also looked over the books, focusing on the transmutation side before writing a letter and having a courier service deliver it. The cat, meanwhile, spent her time following others around, mimicking what she could, practicing her bagpipes, and also writing a letter to be taken to her family. Upon returning, Boar offered his help to the locals around Vandalin, whilst Agnes went, with help and holy water, to sort out the skull once and for all. After the 10 days passed, you obviously all reconvene, but now is when I would like Agnes, Boar, and Arsene to each roll 2 investigation checks.
Alright. 2 investigations coming right up. That'll be a 13 and a 12.
Mine's +2 each time, so I
Just
don't know. I
add
want me
plus
to
4.
type this.
And I got a 14 and a 10.
Ooh, not one.
So you got
Whoa.
a 17 and a 3.
All right. Well,
And
because
always
I
have
have
10 toes.
Shut up.
because I have it written alphabetically, because that's the easiest way to do anything. I'm going to go reverse the way you rolled it. Reverse the way you rolled it. So, Agnes,
Hi.
you, having reached Neverwinter, went around to as many libraries as you could find, being about 2, and did your research on the undead which you have seemingly been encountering lots of. You learn a few things. There are multiple different ways for which undead can be created. The most common being that through arcane magics or curses put upon the person before they die. Undead, all undead seem to have a uncanny resilience to poison, normally because they don't really have anything living to poison and to be affected in their system. However, there is no universal weakness in undead. There are, however, many different types, ranging from spirits to animated corpses. Some of them do have vulnerabilities, but you can't really figure out much of them. Although, one other thing which you do learn is that almost all undead seem to have some innate fear of those who wield the light of a god. Other than that, you also learnt that undead and coming back from the dead are 2 rather different things. Undead is either a soul trapped here, unable to pass on, or a body being puppeted. Whereas coming back from the dead, you can only come back, the soul will only come back to the body if it's given a chance and it wishes to do so. That is all you learnt. Right. Arsene.
Hello.
You sort of made your way around some of the more busy markets and areas, sticking to more of the lower side of Neverwinter, being the Travelers District.
Hmm.
Assuming this is where most likely you would find the information. You learnt of a few merchants who had been sold various goods from a wood elf who seemed to be in somewhat of a rush to sell as much as she could, although all three of them noted that she was not interested in selling her daggers, but pretty much everything else.
Hmm.
This does indeed fit Shin's description from what you're told. And one of them is even able to tell you that she was asking questions concerning several people and the whereabouts of particular people matching several vague descriptions.
Hmm.
Other than that,
Check
you
it.
haven't heard, you haven't been able to find out too much else.
Thank you.
Or
Yep.
your research on the creature that spoke into your mind and terrified you almost piss and shitless.
Almost.
You didn't quite.
Give me
You
the
found that
almost.
most of the creatures along this nature are some sort of foul aberrations and are not home. They do not call where you live typically their home. They are from a different plane of existence, which you know a little bit about from your monasteric ways. Often, these sort of creatures are found to be very vain in
really?
what they do, and in themselves, believing they are the pinnacle of their life form. You have also found that some of the lesser type beings can be summoned and bound to the will of a powerful or several powerful mages, and that would
Alright.
require some sort of ritual to do so. However, you haven't quite pinned down exactly what this aberration was, but you've got a decent sort of understanding how it may have got here.
Okay.
All right. So, before you left, Sano also passed over the Book of the Storm Warrior to you because he believed you would have better use of it. So I would like both Bo and Sano to roll a single intelligence check.
I was starting to write stuff. What's my intelligence? Is it just straight intelligence?
Yep, straight intelligence.
Oh, okay.
No.
Can't go worse than mine.
Are you sure?
All right.
I mean, it wasn't a natural one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
With a
that's
natural one.
significantly worse than the other ones.
Ew.
Jim, shut up.
Sono, it's kind of hard to understand and comprehend some of this book, but you sort of get a rough idea with it. If you happen to me making a Arcana check whilst using Detect Magic to do with transmutation, you will have advantage for it for about the next month or so. Just imagine what it would have been if you hadn't rolled 7. Boar,
Yeah.
having been given the book, you decided that it would probably be best to sort of skim over it somewhat, and you
Realised he couldn't read.
most of it seems relatively foreign to you, and you feel that perhaps maybe you should go and study this book a bit more before you do much else, or
Yeah.
maybe even go and check with your good friend and master a bit about exactly who your god is.
Yeah. Okay. That was a voice crack. Oops.
Samgar, You were able to practice
Performance
your
check.
bagpipes quite well, and
Performance.
she doesn't need to make a performance check out.
Why not?
You
Fuck
did.
you.
You were also able to wander around Vandalin most of the time, mimicking people, much to their dismay, and you soon found yourself being avoided. You were also able to follow Cerno and then watch him messing around with some potion making. However, much to your dismay, he kind of just sat there not doing much. Or at least in your
Very
opinion, it
boring.
was rather boring. So, as the three of you who went to Neverwinter slowly return to Fundalin, the two of you which stayed there have also noticed this over the time, but you've noticed that the town seems to be slowly getting busier. There seems to be a bit more flow of people. You met one or two more going along the Tribor Trail on their way to Fundalin. There seems to be one or two new buildings being slowly built. The basic framework is there, and the sort of stone foundations is being laid. And it seems like the town is just picking up slightly. You are able to track down Gundren relatively easily, and he's able to inform you that he's successfully been able to reopen the mine with his brother, and hence the demand for laborers, guards, and a few other things has actually started drawing a few people back to Fundalin, and is slowly helping to build. At the moment, they are more re-establishing the mine, sort of making an easier way in and out, able to transfer the goods, requesting sort of carts and tracks, the having to order it in because they don't have a local blacksmith. However, things are slowly beginning to get underway for that. However, he thanks you yet again for your help in being able to make this happen, and says that he has been in talks with both Sildar and the mayor of the town, who is still not entirely fond of you guys.
Of course.
Only some of us have met him.
This is true. However, having talked it through and convincing the mayor somewhat, it's been decided that you guys have been quite a help to the town and dealing with some of its problems. And to do, and as thanks, they are going to gift you essentially the castle of Cragmore in its current state. Bit dilapidated, however, they will essentially gift it to you, allow the land to be yours. The only thing they need is essentially a name to which your group can be called to be put on the deed.
Oh shit.
You didn't tell us this and give us a week to prepare this.
You fucking didn't tell us this.
Nate.
It would have been nice to know, Nate.
Hey, you.
Wow.
This is session 18. My.
Yeah, well,
You put the
I was
corn
thinking of a name.
I can think of it whilst I continue talking.
guys, come up with ideas in D&D text chat. Go.
Gundren has it informs you that he doesn't actually currently have much to be able to pay you. However,
thinking the
he
same.
does offer to essentially act as your building manager, using some of the using essentially what would be your income from the mines to start slowly rebuilding the castle. All you need to do is essentially tell him roughly what you want, and he'll try and prepare the castle. However, it will take several months and a substantial amount of money as well. The slow trickle of income from the mine at first means that it won't production won't get underway for a little while, maybe a couple of months.
I feel was I can't spell. Hold on. I feel like the circus is too vague. Like there needs to be more than just the circus.
Is that just
Hang on. I've quite literally got
circus?
I've quite literally just got
What you fancy?
The mighty circus.
I've literally just got a fancy name generator with
Shut up.
I need healing.
I like circus or something.
Swordcast.
Uh-huh. It sounds
Swordcast.
entering party.
Circus.
Swordcast.
Abby typed it in chat.
typed in
Swordcast.
chat, yes.
I know.
Or what's the other one I saw?
Oh.
Saw another one that I thought was cool, but I've lost it. Had a Y in it somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. The Welsh alternative. But that's literally just circus, but spelled funny.
Again, that could be interesting.
That
Mhm.
yeah.
I love looking up things in other languages.
I don't know how to say that last one. Circus?
It's literally
Circus?
circa.
Circus.
I'm just
Circa.
making up
Circus?
circa. I don't actually know how to say it.
Fellowship or something.
I should know this. My dad's girlfriend as well.
So no, we're not go.
Yeah, the
Not,
yeah.
And this
I feel like this is going in. This is happening in like the mayor's office or whatever. And
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's just sat there with quill dipped in ink, just hovering over the deed, and you're going, Circus, Sorcas, Circus?
Company.
Which
Where
one's
did you
just-
go?
Son, I was just like, we're all
No,
friends,
son.
right? I just no, son, no, son, no.
It's
Just sit corner and behave yourself.
I need healing type rope.
Okay.
I need healing.
I like circus or circus,
Doesn't
however you
Wait.
pronounce it.
wait, doesn't that make
Ficus
four
sounds
hands?
pretty cool.
No, it makes
Shut up.
D&D.
He's not getting
No,
it.
no, because
Circus.
you need luck with Hanzo to hit people. Born needs a lot of luck.
Whatever Abby typed last.
There,
Circus.
Circus.
there,
Circus.
there. It's like circus, but spelled funny.
Circus.
Mm.
Circus.
Sure. Well,
Or you could literally just pronounce it in a way which is not meant to be pronounced.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to come up with.
circus.
Circus.
Siacast?
Circus.
There we go.
Circus.
Circus.
But
You guys decided on the name yet? I think I need to put more ink on this quill.
circus.
Yeah.
Give us about 10 more minutes, I think.
Circus.
Circus.
Siacast it is.
Circus.
Yes.
Yay.
You spell that S-Y...
Look and spell.
Cats.
Oh, see, how do we spell this?
Oh shit, I don't know, I'm not
You're
smart.
the one who said it.
What? SYRCAS.
It
Something.
makes more sense in a native tongue.
My.
What, infernal?
Yes.
Yes, thanks. Surprised you went with it, actually.
All right. Well, having received some pay and having done your 2 weeks of rest and relaxation or
And
research,
community service.
what is it that you guys now want to do? You technically own a castle, however, it is shambles.
I
And
mean,
it's
There's one
going
or
to
two rooms that are.
cost.
Castle is a
Hospitable.
castle.
It's going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of time for it to be repaired. But
it could be
if you
done.
live long enough, you'll have something.
We should
Yeah.
probably hire someone to replace that lot that we cut through.
Gundren said that he would oversee the repairs to the castle using your share of the mines. However, it's going to take a while for the mines to start making any decent income, so it will take
Yeah,
a
but
while
I feel like the lock is
gonna-
important.
Boy's
It needs to
gonna
be
take
done
out-
right now.
Boy's gonna take out the 100 gold and put it down, and then say this will be the down payment for now.
Don't need
He
to.
kind of looks at you, he kind of looks at it, looks at you, looks at it, looks at you, and goes, "It's gonna cost about 10 times that, but I'm sure it will be a start.
It'll be a start. I mean, come on.
I
We
feel
didn't
like
have 300
I
more
know it's
gold.
gonna take a while, but the lock is important. Apart from that, like getting the doors fixed, making sure there's no squatters.
We'll get a carpenter to get the doors fixed and locked for you.
And
Mm.
not to mention, Agnes, there's the problem of a few big holes in the walls. So new locked doors.
And roof
Yes,
and floor and
there are
Everything
some
he
hospitable rooms.
Basically, everything needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
There are some hospitable rooms in there, though. You wouldn't have stayed there if there wasn't.
you
Well,
have
they
met
are
goblins,
yeah.
right, miss?
Yeah.
Yes, and they all stay in caves where it is sheltered and doesn't have a hole in the roof.
I don't
They
know,
do
I've
like
seen
some
pretty
comforts.
flooded caves. Anyway,
Yeah.
I best get back to work. And Light gives a short nod and walks out the mayor's office, and the mayor kind of just sits there expectantly, waiting for you guys to leave.
I
Why?
leave.
Boy gives a slight bow and then walks out.
Seven go play the two while walking out.
He sort of gives a nod at Ball, rolls his eyes as the cat starts playing the bagpipes,
I
but
apologize.
begrudgingly
for
doesn't say
everything.
anything.
I apologize for everything in the next few years. And she walks up. Just move.
No, Scene just leaves. Just goes. The door in a flash.
Well,
At least I apologize.
oh,
What?
Agnes, don't you have a gift for that little bastard at the front desk?
Wait, it's been the 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's been the I mean he can have the rest of it. I did decide to keep some of it though. And I show my belt and there's 2 elf ears hanging off it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All that you have left of the head is the 2 elf ears and a skull.
Yeah. I mean we could give him the skull if we want.
It's up to
Also, you called the receptionist a bastard when you just tried to walk straight in and then started shouting at him.
Yeah.
Boy didn't do that.
I'm not sure if you've ever worked in whatchamacallit.
Customer service.
Yeah, essentially customer service, but
Mm.
that's just not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Seven
No.
go pats him on the head and tells him thank you for all your hard work.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I bring out a skull. Do you want this?
Christ.
I'd rather not. My desk is
Drow
cluttered as it is, and
Could be a good paperweight. Impressive. No one has got a drow elf paperweight.
Boy kind of grabs
That's
the
kinda
lower
racist,
jaw
though.
and start making it talk like, "Hello."
Agnes does not let you touch
you
it.
want to take? Oh.
Seven go tries to control the skull talking to Boar.
Agnes does not let any of you touch it.
I don't want to touch it. Touch me. Don't need to touch you more.
Fair enough. I'm sure it'll make look lovely on a desk in my room when it's done whenever.
I'm
I'll
sure
make it
will.
work. Good day.
I'm worried.
And
about
to
that.
you.
Well,
Seven leaves
not
one
worried
gem on
about
his desk as a way of saying thank you for dealing with us crazies.
Oh, so
why do you worry, Sano?
Because it's a skull.
I mean, it's not going
Has
to
a
do anything.
point. And
This one
Boy
doesn't have
walks out.
fire in it.
Mhm.
And I also already used some holy water on it. That was left over from the other guy. So it's fine.
So good, so good. Mm.
Okay then.
Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. Drow doesn't eat anymore.
Well, yeah, Boy's outside the door right now.
I think we're all
Seven
outside.
go left this receptionist a tip.
Oh, okay.
He thanks you and just kind of slides the coins off the
It's
desk.
one of the gems.
Oh, slides the gem off the desk and is just sort of inspecting it as you walk out.
It's glass.
It's actually a bottle cap.
This is not Fallout.
Oh.
It's just a pretty stone that the cat thought was pretty nice.
So I don't
Well.
want to talk in boy voice. It hurts.
What else were we supposed to see? Or was it just him?
Oh, she's
Well-
crackling from jam.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
slight
fine.
crackling.
slightly crackling.
Only a small amount.
Don't break things trying to fix it, but
I mean, I'm on my phone. I don't know.
That's slightly
Yeah,
better.
that
I don't know if you did
Hmm.
anything.
May just be the odd time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying not to yawn to do this dang voice.
Well done.
So now what do we do?
We could look on the notice board to see if there's any jobs going.
It has gone busier, so you never know.
Hmm?
That's true.
I think if the Gundar had any need for us, he would have said.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I
well-
think we're right to go somewhere.
We're not bound by contract.
Yeah.
Not right now.
And she walks
Um,
towards the
Freedom.
board.
Or happily follows behind.
All right.
What do we find?
Right. Well, there's still the notice, which is stuck with 2 daggers, and in bold writing at the bottom, "Do not take." On that, has been orcs seen nearby,
You.
and for someone to investigate, probably deal with them. However, other than that, there doesn't appear to be too much on there wise which you guys might be interested in. There's a few statements saying in need of certain items being blacksmithed or acquired, but most of it is sort of not adventuring. However, as you are stood staring at this notice board, you hear the sound of hooves behind you. And as you turn to look, you're rather surprised to see not someone riding a horse, however, a horse's
Horse
body.
riding someone.
A horse's body with a man's torso, arms, and head coming out of the end.
But what?
He is,
You're a massive fluffy bugbear.
he is wearing
Fine.
he is wearing saddlebags. No saddle, just saddlebags, leather armor, and also a satchel over his shoulder.
It's cool.
There's a short sword hanging from his waist and a long bow also strung over his back.
Boy
Hmm.
looks at him, looks at the sword. Nice sword you got there.
He's a little way away, but he does eventually
Oh,
come up to
He's
you.
not there to us? Yeah, as soon as he comes
Is he
up
the
to
one
us.
that Agnes sold the sword to? Oh no, that was a short sword. Wait.
No,
Anyway.
Agnes sold a long sword. He's carrying a short sword.
Okay.
Seen does
And
not
he
stare because
Comes up
they know
and
it's
sort of glances all of you over. You say this, and he sort of gives a short nod and goes, "Would you happen to be Boar?"
We don't know him.
Yeah. That'd be me.
I have a letter.
I don't know.
He opens up his satchel and rummages through before pulling out a somewhat square piece of parchment which has a wax seal on it and hands it over to you.
Oh,
Gives a short nod, buckles
thank you.
the satchel up before turning and slowly making his way back out of town.
Before he leaves, Abigail pats him.
Hi.
You go to pat him and his tail sort of just swishes in your general direction.
I clamber over or onto his.
Boar, did you
shoulder.
know that guy?
DM, do I know that guy?
You do not know that guy.
That's why he did
I
a double.
have
What's in the letter?
no
In fact,
letter?
clue.
Most
I,
of you have never seen a centaur before.
That's
this is the
cool.
first time I've ever
You
seen
mean most of us?
a centaur.
Right. Travels at all.
Does any of us?
I would say Cerno has heard stories of centaurs, but no one has actually seen one. They are a rare occurrence. They normally they're known to live in sort of the wilds and tend to like seclusion. It is very rare for one to sort of join civilization, but if they do, they're often sort of messengers and the such, simply because they
So
can do the job of a man on horseback. Quite.
I'm
effective.
guessing that everyone in town is looking at him.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just slowly
Okay.
walking out. Just everyone staring. It's more so than when you guys walked in.
Okay.
For
He
once,
doesn't. He
I
doesn't,
feel
he doesn't
normal.
seem to care. He doesn't seem to care particularly too much.
Used to it, I guess.
Once I seem normal.
So would
Well,
Samuel know about a centaur from all the stories and lore that she's traveled around with?
She would have heard stories of them, yes. However, having actually
Just
seen
not
one
seen
up
them.
close, it is a very interesting thing. It is essentially just a buff guy's torso on a horse.
I doubt I would have seen one ever.
His hair is
Alright.
relatively long and sleek, going down past his shoulders and a bit
Well,
Well,
down
they were
his
all
back.
staring at the centaur walk away.
I'm not.
Boy
Agnes
slowly
is.
whispering.
I know it's rude.
Boy slowly whispering to himself. I just got a letter. I just got a letter. I wonder
Say,
who.
what does it
Say it.
say?
Well, as you
Oh,
turn it
boy.
over in your hands, you do notice that the wax seal has a familiar symbol. In fact, it is the symbol above the gates to your temple.
No.
And
Say
as
that
you,
one more time, you went beep boop.
the seal on the wax is the same symbol which is above the gates leading into your temple.
Okay.
So it is essentially Cord's holy symbol.
I quickly open it up.
As you do so, you open it to find large but neat handwriting, and it's somewhat friendly. Speaking, hope this letter finds you in good health, and you realize that this is from your master, Pethron, who is the orc who half orc. Half orc who took you in and took you into the temple, and who you've been relatively good friends with. And it is, as I said, it starts, sort of, hope this letter finds you well. He's curious to know how your travels have been going, how you're getting along. And, sorry, my throat's being a bit...
Okay.
There we go.
I'm holding back burps right now.
He's curious to how you're getting along, and states that if you were to return to the temple, he would be eager to test your skills.
Oh, shit.
However, do not feel obliged to rush back.
We're gonna get his ass beat.
Shut up.
It has a few more things in there talking about essentially sort of what's happening around the temple and a few other things, but
So it's all good news. No, nothing bad. Nothing worrisome.
nothing bad. It's just a general sort of hope you're well, how you're doing. If you ever want to pop back, feel free to.
Oh, sounds like a mother.
That sounds nice.
Well,
Arsene doesn't say this because Arsene does not understand the concept.
Yeah, boy relays everything that he's been told in the letter to him.
Ooh,
Well,
Yeah.
would you like to be tested?
I'd like to see it.
True, it could be funny.
I wouldn't mind to go up against him again. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I've actually sparred, besides killing.
Be interesting to see what your temple looked like.
Yeah,
Ooh,
well,
that'd
that's a
be true.
really far way away.
It is.
How far is it?
You're talking many weeks of travel.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Never mind.
Yeah, good
Or-
luck with that.
I can tell you that you essentially have to travel to the top of the Sword Coast, and then you have to pick your way through a very weirdly northern jungle.
Hmm.
So what was
But,
on the billboard again? Something about orcs?
Orcs.
Very
Yes.
much
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean,
Actually,
Boy's going to.
there's one other thing which catches your eye on the billboard.
Is it?
It's a small, hastily written warning stating that no one seems to have been seen to be coming from Tribor as of recently, and it's probably advised to avoid the area.
Which
Hmm.
which way of Tribor? The obvious route toward.
Ah.
Where are they?
Tribor is essentially... Oh, wrong tool. Zoom out. Tribor is here.
Okay.
It's
I
the
don't
most...
see anything. Oh, there.
Cool. The
Yeah.
map hasn't changed.
Boy kind of makes a mental note. Write his master a letter because I already forgot how the hell he pronounced his name.
Pethron.
Wow.
Your
Some
neck.
Pethron?
pupil
Okay.
you are.
Can you
I'm
tell who
horrible,
wrote
leave
Boar's
me alone,
backstory?
Yeah.
Not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Wholeheartedly, yes.
but yeah,
Hi.
boy puts the letter away in his backpack, so he'll write a letter. And the letter will basically be describing his grand adventures with the circus.
That's not her name.
How dare you?
Circus. Sorry.
Circus.
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 Snake. Yeah.
Dracus.
Like
Psi.
that.
Cass.
Circus.
Yes.
Circus.
Circus. Okay.
Well,
Psi is in... R is in... R. And Cass is in, like, cast without the T.
R as in
No, it's-
R is in... I'm a pirate. Yarr.
That's so
Well, we could either
patronizing.
go deal with some orcs, or we can figure out what's going on in Tribor.
Why not both?
I'm
Does
down.
the orc posting say where they have been spotted?
It's very old, faded, and worn.
Oh, they might have moved on by now then.
Yeah.
well, there's something
Hmm.
about the.
This is a posting which has been up before, which was up when you guys arrived at Fandalen.
Yeah,
It's
it
now been
was.
over a month since you were here.
They're dealt with, don't worry about it. Orcs like to move, you
Well,
know.
Probably.
I say we head up towards the other side of Tribal. Check it out. We got
Yeah.
nothing better to do.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Onward, good
Maybe.
steed! As I'm riding Boar.
Oh,
You
God.
riding what?
I'm riding on Boar's shoulders. Onward!
Oh, okay. Boy
Never
just
goes up
starts
to one
heading
there
in.
and also goes onward.
Boy's kind of like holding on both of their legs and starts walking.
Oh, God.
Kind of like the Iron Giant.
Should we not leave a
Oh,
note for
it's so
Gundar just to say we're gone a while?
Boy's like, adventure! Adventure!
They only just finished traveling. They only just
Adventure!
Ag-
Adventure!
Agnes walks back into the mayor's office and asks to leave a note for Gundar just to say where we're going.
Certainly, ma'am. The receptionist straightens up slightly, gets out some ink, and scribbles down what you dictate to him. I will make sure that he receives it the next time he comes here.
Meanwhile,
think
while
we're
they're doing this, can we
Thank
just
you
be
very much.
outside just chanting adventure? Adventure!
Trevor goes
Mm.
playing,
You
doing
are
that while playing the bagpipes.
You are stood
We're
in the
doing it to the
midday
beat.
sun. You are stood in the midday sun, chanting adventure as your cat Bard starts playing a small tune on the bagpipes.
Can we do it to the beat? That is that.
Yeah!
Should we go get the cart and horse?
So.
Oh yeah, we have one of those, don't we?
Oh yeah!
Yes,
Yes, we bought one.
but you two would rather ride Boar.
I'd probably walking anyway.
Phrasing.
Didn't point
Let's
it
go
out,
get the
that's
cart.
why I
Let's get
changed
the
my wording.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, can we set off?
Yes.
With that terrifying idea in
Once
mind.
we've got the cart.
Adventure. Adventure.
All right. Well, you start to make your way slowly through town, with two of you chanting adventure as you go. people, it is about midday. The people in the streets, a few more than you're used to. You still get the occasional glance of people who you're assuming are new to the town. The ones who have been there for a while don't think twice about seeing a cat, bugbear, halfling, tiefling, and half elf walking through the streets. However, there appear to be sort of a few groups of them, and they seem to be talking somewhat more hurriedly than idle chit chat.
Hmm.
They're talking
Seems-
shit about us.
No. No.
Are they talking about us, or do they just talking about something in general and just look at us?
Could
I think they're
Could
talking about
Some
Echo
of them
Cave.
don't look at you. You are a norm to some of them. Some of them sort of double take upon seeing you. You
Can-
don't know what some of these people are talking about, but most of them
Can
seem to
we
be sort of.
overhear?
yeah, can we see?
Roll a perception
go.
check.
I want to do
Ba-
this.
ba- ba-
No, but 7 girls got.
Adventure. Adventure. Zano's not going to bother. He's used to people talking behind his back.
That's a natural one, and that'll be a 13.
Agnes, you were just walking along, hearing adventure, adventure,
I'm in a-
adventure.
I'm in the cart, right?
You're not in
on
the
a
cart
horse.
yet.
I thought we said okay.
You're walking
Alright,
from
we
Darling
Go
to
get it.
get to essentially where your car and horse is stabled.
Okay.
But you take a second to hang back slightly from your little friend chanting.
Why?
And sort of cast an ear out, and you catch small sort of snippets. And most importantly, you catch sort of a conversation between two women, sort of talking slightly hurriedly, but it's not normal conversation. There's a slight bit of worry to them, but from what you hear, they seem to be saying something along the lines of, "You heard war's been declared."
No shit.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Down south. The Empire of Zyuth is just going at it.
Oh god. No, no.
That's about
That's not
all
good.
you pick up.
Adventure.
Mm,
Adventure.
Boy starts joining in on the chat and keeps walking.
Hmm.
And then when
You're
we're
Into the women.
no, I go back in the chant
chant.
and I start walking. And when we're decently far away from those girls, I'll stop chanting and look at the group and tell them what I just overheard, which is war's been declared apparently.
yeah.
Between who?
The South, Zephyr.
My gosh. Is that it?
Zephyr?
Zephyr, yeah. I don't know if
Zyuth.
Right,
Zayeth,
I was
sorry.
Why did I chuck a K in there?
But so that might be a thing soon.
Actually, most of you have not heard of this. Only Arsene knows
Oh shit.
of the Zyuth Empire.
I was gonna say. I think
The rest
What
of
do
you, you have no idea what it is, where it is, who it is.
What do I know?
we are going north, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know Sias well? Sias.
You don't know it well. You just know of it.
Okay.
Is it far from us?
Yeah, it's the southern end of this continent, and you're relatively near the north.
It shouldn't be a
Or-
problem then.
Or it's just like adventure, adventure,
He's trying to forget.
adventure,
He's chanting to forget.
adventure.
Hmm.
What do you mean to forget? He's already forgotten.
True.
I say we continue with what we were planning to do.
Let's do that first. Yeah. Look at wars.
If it's just idle gossip, then
Mm,
there isn't really a
I
problem.
guess. Well,
Did
Let's
sound a little
see.
bit hurried about
Ah,
it.
sorry, my mistake. The Zyuth Empire isn't actually on your continent. It's still south, however, it's essentially the nearby.
Oh, fun!
It's just a hops swim away.
I think I might change up his voice.
If it's a different continent,
Don't do it.
the only problem would be if they started including our continent and
Airships?
Neverwinter and
One
Darren.
thing. I mean, if they've declared
Oh,
war
what?
on this continent, that could be worrying.
Yeah,
What's
Boar
the
didn't bother
word?
to find out who they were warring against.
No.
What's the likelihood
side?
of that happening?
You'd be surprised.
I merely enter one.
Can Agnes track down someone who's obviously talking about this subject?
There are a few people who are just you're still within Fandalen, and there's a few people who are just sort of chatting.
While she
Whether
does
they're
that,
talking
I
about
wanna
that
get
subject
the
or other
horse and
things?
cart ready.
You're not entirely sure.
Yeah, Boar and Cerno are
All
already
right,
at the
Boar and
cart,
Cerno,
getting
you
everything
continue
ready.
on your way, whilst Agnes, you sort of stop and turn to see that there are a few people who are sort of stood around talking, a few sort of making their way through town, just chatting as well.
Someone who Agnes has obviously seen, or they've seen Agnes in the group before and has been around.
You
Interesting.
notice one of the locals from the inn which you have frequented a lot, somewhat of a regular, and you're able to flank him down. Yeah.
Have you heard about this war?
Oh, yeah, talks all over the town.
What is going on? We've been out of town for a while.
Apparently some pricks on a different continent have declared war on the south.
Hmm.
So nothing to do with us at all. For the
Well,
moment.
shouldn't affect the Sword Coast,
Hmm.
unless it spreads. We're good for now.
They haven't asked for our alliance then.
The alliance of what? Several
True.
priesty states?
This
That's a
is
good
true.
point.
Then again, they could always use some random city to sacrifice their people and their armies. I don't think anyone would pass that down. Well, thank
But
you.
they gotta get up here first. Who knows? If they manage to get through the southern part of us, they may make their way up here.
Hmm.
He kind of nods slightly solemnly and then walks off.
Nice. Well,
Well, I'm content with that.
just have to hope the South doesn't lose.
Or they do lose and the winners are content with just that.
Hmm. Good luck with that.
Either way, it's far enough that we would hear about it before. There wouldn't be a surprise, I don't think. At least.
Hopefully not.
To tribe war it is. Let's go track down our
At this
musical
point,
part of the
Boar's
circus.
on top of the horse and buggy, ready for everyone.
It's a cart, not a buggy.
Cart, whatever. Boar's on the cart, holding the ropes, ready to go.
Reins, but
Reins, yep,
you're just
sorry.
holding the reins while Cerno is leading the horse to attach it to the cart.
Yeah.
I'm just walking right behind him, like, yeah.
Why?
Don't do
Well,
that,
as-
Paul. You're strong, but I don't want you to waste one of your healing potions. Just in case the good old horsey here decides she doesn't like you. I don't know if it's... I don't. Hang on, I'll look under. Check. DM, what do I say?
It's a sheep.
It's a shame!
I was gonna say, Cerno wouldn't have to do much, he'd just have to like walk underneath the horse's legs.
Yeah!
Hang on, I'll stop standing on tiptoes. It's a sheep.
It's just a really high octane game of limbo.
Mhm.
You know? If the pole you're walking under decides it doesn't like you, you better run.
Why?
I
Why?
was gonna say something that's really bad. No. Mm-mm.
Can that be the title?
What high
I'm messaging-
octane limbo?
I mean, it doesn't got much to do with this session, but alright.
A messaging comment.
Oh
boy.
god.
Uh-oh. I've
I
I
think I
may
know where
have to
Jam's
mute
might go.
myself just in case I start coughing
Start
very
having a
loudly because
coughing
like
fit.
what
Anyway.
coughing does.
Anyway, indeed. Please.
Yeah, I think I know what they were talking about.
Share! Share! I'm curious. Share with the group.
No.
I'm not saying it.
Look to me.
Spare me.
Is
Please.
it patty cake related?
I guess.
I think it was basically along the lines of if it was a male horse, he was talking about it maybe slightly worse.
If it does like you, you have problems.
Damn, I swear
Anyway.
to fucking god.
Moving swiftly onwards.
Yes, please. Please. No.
I'm not sorry.
I know you're not.
You will be.
Well, that's a possible title for the episode then, isn't it?
Anyway,
Horse,
tribal
So
trail.
many ideas.
Tribal trail.
Let's go.
I spilled my drink. Okay, yeah, tribal trails.
Tribal trail.
Away we
Right.
go!
To tribal.
As you finish hooking up the cart, Cerno, the
You're
horse to the
so
cart,
mature.
your other friends appear, and you all embark. I'm going to assume having brought some rations and making sure all of your tents and other utilities are still on the cart.
Mm-hmm.
You slowly set off on your way out of Fandala. It is about midday, so it's going to take you. You can travel. So you travel most of your way down and get to the intersection, and instead of turning the usual left, you turn right towards
Whoa.
your
Oh
new.
no.
However, as you are making your way along the trail, the light is beginning to fade, and unlike the first part of the tribal trail, where it is now getting a little bit busier, and you happen to pass someone maybe once an hour, there is no one else traveling along this part of the road.
Oh.
The light is beginning to get dark, and the somewhat endless rolling hills are still before you.
Is it all relatively flat ground? There's no mountains or caves or.
It's not sheer cliffs, it's sort of English countryside rolling hills sort of type thing. There's the odd trees, a few copses, but mostly sort of open plains, fields. And you're slowly heading further and further into the wilderness now.
Mm. Neat.
We should stop and rest.
Rebecca listens to the sounds of the outside to see if there's anything that's approaching them.
It's a quiet evening. There doesn't appear to be any other people on the road traveling. It is just you guys. So, with the sun beginning to set, I assume you start to make camp.
Sounds good.
Set up a fire and
When
get
it comes
going.
to the time of taking shifts, when I take my shift, I'm going to be casting Dark Vision.
Ooh, fancy.
Someone's got a new spell.
Oh, I've had it for
Whoa.
a while, I just haven't bothered.
Oh wow.
It
Yeah,
enables them to
when,
see, just like the rest of you guys.
Well,
Wow.
it gives.
So
It's like having
Right, so
glasses, but
who's
magic
doing what
version.
shifts?
I'll go first.
I'll go second, and I will I'll read the book.
I'll
as
go
well.
third or last then.
I'll go first.
I'll go last then.
All right.
So Sano isn't going at all.
Okay.
Cerno gets his beauty sleep.
What do you think?
He doesn't get to use his spell.
Would have been a waste anyway.
I would have got it
Wait,
back. So it was a
so-
long rest, though, right? Right, DM?
He has
At the end of it,
Yeah, I guess.
Uh, Why'd you yawn, damn it?
Because you
Okay.
yawned earlier. Right, so Agnes is first.
Yes.
So make your perception check.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Okay.
I did a natural
Yay.
one.
You got them all
Wow.
out in the beginning.
So
So proud of you.
Yeah.
So
now.
as you sit with your compatriots asleep in their individual tents,
Jesus Christ.
several of them snoring.
I really need to learn a silent spell.
You sort of glance out across the plains, and there really doesn't appear to be much. There's the odd howl of a wolf in the distance, but
Mm,
Borg, howl.
you're
he's
asleep.
asleep.
Okay.
Okay.
There doesn't appear to be much in the way of concern. You are somewhat familiar with this section of land, having travelled to and from Cragmore a few times now. And you reflect on what you have been able to achieve. It's weird to think that you now own a castle, or at least part of a somewhat what was once a castle. And as your shift comes to rest, the clouds begin to cover the moon, reducing the amount of visible light. However, the moon is still partially visible. You wake up, Boar, who's taking second.
Yep.
Well, you're a bit too interested in the book, which you start reading, and as you read it, a few of the things actually start to come back to you, and a bit of it makes a little bit of sense.
Wee.
Bits of it, the virtues which Cord teaches comes back to you, and you remember it, and you reflect slightly on again what you have done. You realize he may not be best pleased with one or two of your actions, but you think you have done reasonable thus far.
Okay.
Although something starts to nag at your brain, there's the word dragon spirit. That it seems so familiar, and yet you just can't quite place it.
Okay.
You sort of glance up and look around and realize that the fire is beginning to dwindle. The getting close to burning out, and the moon is now fully covered, so the fire is the only real thing providing the light around.
Okay. I'll put some more firewood.
Okay. You close your book, go rummage around, find a few more twigs, grab a few handfuls of dried grass and sort of shove it on the fire, and using your hands fan it slightly and sort of puff of smoke, and the embers glow and they start to crackle as the grass helps light and your fire picks up a bit more.
Okay.
You awaken Savangal, who takes third watch.
Yeah. I gently pat her head, like, come on, it's your turn, kitty.
All right.
And I crawl back to sleep.
Savangal, not much seems to be happening on your watch. You kind of sit back, relax, and just try and think of a few new melodies. Agnes.
Me?
No, I thought it was me that was fourth watch.
No, this is Agnes.
Uh-oh.
You are in your you're in your slumber, a somewhat dreamless one, which for you is nice.
Mm.
However, you soon suddenly find yourself stood in a field, staring at a very familiar looking mansion. The sun is high in the sky, and everything's quite bright, beautiful, but you have distaste for where you're standing. As you glance around, you notice that the light just seems to dim. Everything seems to become unsaturated. Even though the sun is still high in the sky, everything seems to darken ever so slightly. The ground grows dark, and you see the grass begins to pull away, leaving nothing but bare stone. The building, you glance, seems to slowly morph from this well-crafted and relatively beautiful mansion into a crude-looking stone shack with odd bits of brick tumbling down and just holes for windows. You continue to glance around and notice that the shadows slowly beginning to grow longer and longer. They twist and twirl and start to move, making their way towards you. You feel uneasy. You try to move, but you can't. As the shadows approach, they start to twist and wrap around your legs. All of a sudden, there's a rushing sensation as you get dragged into the ground and everything goes pitch black. All of a sudden, you're thrust into what appears to be a small room. And stood before you is a giant, jagged shard of obsidian. Although it's not like what you've ever seen before. It's somewhat oval in shape, although it's thicker at the top, with a significant bulge on the right, with jagged spikes sticking out the top. You stare at it for a couple of seconds before you hear sound of breaking glass. You glance around. The sound seems to come from everywhere and yet nowhere. And as your eyes fall back upon this obsidian, you just hear boom, boom.
The start of Crazy Train.
Sudden intense pain fills your head as if something is trying to claw its way out. And as your vision fades, you awake, still with a slight headache, but with a start.
And I'm back in the camp.
You're back in the camp. The pain in your head is slowly fading. Everything seems normal.
I look outside my tent and I'm guessing what do I see?
Savengale just happily sat, tail twitching, arms behind head, leaning back slightly. The fire flickering. The moon just visible in the sky.
I just go back to sleep.
All right.
Nice.
Savengale, your shift comes to an end without much interruption. You think you got one or two new melodies you'd like to try?
Uh-oh.
You're
Try
awake.
the next one.
Arsene, who takes her spot with a somewhat begrudgingly sleeping, awake Night Eyes.
He's
I'll
up.
go back to Night Eyes before she
Oh,
goes
shit.
back to sleep.
God
Hey,
damn
that's
it.
the same as me. High five.
Woo! You can't see my hand five, but it's there.
Yeah.
Well, you're somewhat groggy and not entirely happy. You didn't get the best of sleeps, and Night Eyes has just curled up and gone back to sleep on your lap.
Cheeky bastard.
Pardon me. However, dawn soon approaches, although the cloud cover still being quite thick, the sun struggling to burst through the clouds, and the rest of you awaken.
Phew.
We're just gonna start not saying anything. He's gonna start taking down his tent and helping everyone else out.
Well, I guess we're packing up and continuing along the trail then.
Agnes is silent the whole morning and just hurried to get. Doesn't talk to anyone or look them in the eye.
She's regressing. Okay, great. Off we go then.
Yeah,
All right,
off we go.
you guys
Can't get my voice.
get back into the cart and start to make your way along. It's about midday when you where you get to your normal turn-off point towards Cragmore. You continue on your way past the hills and land still sort of rolling before you. The odd tree. The trail seems well walked, and yet, or at least it once was well walked. And so where the trail is, grass is beginning to slowly creep its way back, seemingly not having anything walked over it to flatten it down. You come to the end of your travel for the day, set up camp, take your shifts, and have yet another peaceful night. Or for one of you, a peaceful night.
Yay.
Okay.
No, nothing happens. I'm just gonna keep going, I assume.
Indeed.
Boy's gonna continue staying silent, but before we leave, he's gonna look towards the direction of the castle. So it's weird. We're gonna have a castle.
Yeah, we do technically own the castle, but there's, hundreds of fallen down castles all over the place. Gotta give them to someone. Well, we could do something with it. Never know, maybe you could make it into another temple.
Maybe. I can't do Boy's voice right now. It's killing me.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
It's surprising that we're actually gonna have a castle. I mean, to be fair, from my journey, I didn't really expect to do much. Maybe just roam town from town, spread the word of Cord. I didn't think I'd be taking a job and making friends along the way.
Nice change of pace, I guess.
It is.
The castle isn't that great. It is
That-
it is just basic bricks. Made by those who have more than they deserve.
You could make it into something great if you weren't such a pessimist.
I never said it couldn't be anything great. I just said what they were.
Oh well, let's just keep going.
Yep.
You continue on your way, eventually coming to another fork in the road. Quite a sharp turn off left, which actually heads down a hill and sort of turns before heading off into what you make out as, and assume as, Neverwinter Woods.
Ah, okay.
Sat sort of just at this turn-off point is a small mound of stones.
Anything distinctive, or is it just a pile
Yeah,
of
it's just a thing that's-
stones?
I mean, you're currently all sat in a cart, slowly trundling along.
Can we look at it then?
You certainly can, but
Alright.
who's driving?
I don't mind driving.
Yeah, Boy's walking, so
Alright.
Boy picks up his pace and kind of goes and looks at the cart. Not the cart, the things of rocks.
Well, you make your way over, and at what first looked like a sort of small pile of random stones, appears to be somewhat more. Seem somewhat random, sort of at the bottom, but near the top it seems to be more. Not more deliberate. That was the word I was looking for. And as you sort of peer around, you notice that sort of the stone pile is somewhat hollow. And peering inside, you see a small carved copper figure attached to a rather large rock with what appears to be the odd bolt, and there's a few very faded sort of scratchings in that rock.
An odd
Should
copper
we?
figure. What?
Do any of us recognize the figure?
Yeah.
Hmm. Or make a religion check, since you're the only one who's trained in it.
Oh, am I?
Yep.
+2. Let's go. I'm going to look away for this one.
To be fair, that makes sense. That I don't know about our scene, but druids aren't
What is
usually good
it?
at religion.
21.
I'm
Oh,
a freaking ranger. I don't know shit.
After a bit of sort of studying, you notice it's not so much the figure, but one of the engravings sort of more catches your eye, and you believe to be a sort of engraving of what appears to be a rabbit's foot. And you make the connection that this must be a shrine to the dweller on the horizon.
ah. Okay.
A god of travel, also referred to as traveler's luck. There are a few other names, but those are the two which you know.
Cool.
Boy's going to bow down real quick and give a slight prayer for safe travel.
Right.
I'm not looking
Agnes
for
rolls
anything
her
to it.
eyes.
Don't really know what they like for offerings.
You can give an offering if you wish.
Yeah, I'm good. You can't look
Sono
what it is they like.
looks through his stuff.
Ooh, do you think it'd like a drow elf head? Or a skull?
One of the
Boy
ears
looks
you
at
pick.
Agnes. No. Travel.
I don't know gods or whatever this is. I'm sure some of them like death.
Sono just puts his hands together above his head and goes, "Please, please give us safe travels. Please give us safe travels. Please give us safe travels. Thank you. Amen."
I know we get into a lot of trouble, but you don't need to beg it.
I never knew a druid to be so fearful of gods.
Desperate.
Some druids
Mm.
serve gods, others serve nature itself. There are several gods.
This is Agnes talking.
I
Shut
know.
up.
Boy
I
stands
don't think
up.
she would have really met many druids other than Cerno, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Her point still stands.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boy stands up, looks at everyone. Alright, shall we continue?
Onwards.
Waiting on you.
Alright. Boy gets up, kind of puts Cerno on his shoulder and keeps walking.
Okay.
Oh, there he goes.
Who is driving the car, out of curiosity?
I am.
Agnes,
Oh,
I've
seen.
I am.
I've seen, alright.
For some
Currently at
reason,
this point in time, yeah.
You spur the horse onwards a bit more, and you continue on your steady pace. You realize maybe having another horse would allow you to move at slightly faster than walking pace. However, come the end of the day, you will find yourselves at another crossroads.
oh boy.
The terrain is getting actually a bit. The hills are getting a bit more exaggerated and larger. However, there are slightly less of them, and this crossroads is just sort of over the brow of a hill. Now you can sort of see the beginning of the plains. You're on one of the last hills. It goes down for quite a while. Gentle
Ooh.
slope, and you can just about see the bank of a river and the plains beyond.
Crikey. There's no signs or anything to tell us what's one way and what's the other.
There is a small post stuck in the ground which has faded words on it, but you can just about make one pointing the way you've just come, saying Pendalin, and another one pointing east, saying Tribor.
Guess that's
East
our
it is
way.
then.
Mm.
The horse on east. Was it a horse I had? It is a horse.
Well, the sun is beginning to set.
Then I guess we're stopping. We'll
Stay
finish
with
up
them
at the
through the
moment.
night if you want.
No,
I
that
mean,
doesn't
we could
sound like a good
find,
idea.
We could find a thing in town.
They'll be traveling through the night.
That would be. Never mind then.
Let's rest and then we'll get there tomorrow. Tomorrow
Though
evening, probably.
I don't suggest we camp on top of a hill.
True. We could go to the bottom of the. Well, it's quite a gentle slope, though. We might be alright. Put some stones underneath the.
I was
Cartwheel.
meaning more we'd be put on a pedestal for the surrounding area to see us.
Fine, right? Find somewhere better then.
Can I find anywhere that's kind of hidden?
Well, you're on the top of a hill. You could go back for a couple of miles and find somewhere slightly lower down, or you could go forwards for a couple of miles and get close to the sort of natural flattening of the hill.
I mean,
There
we
doesn't
don't
appear
have
to be
a.
much.
Oh, I'm imagining something smaller than it probably is.
No, this is quite a large hill. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
gentle. It's not like a steep, small mound. This is quite a large sort of hill which slowly rolls and descends down into the more flat plains beyond.
Oh, that's fine then.
We could probably, as long as we don't have the campfire running when we're on watch, I think we'll be okay.
You'd be just as visible lower down as you'd be higher up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No cover for us.
Pretty much.
Right. Might as well get settled down there now then. Get stuff prepared whilst it's still light out.
Right. So you set up your tents as night finally falls. Start a small fire, and take turns staying up, keeping watch.
Board take first watch.
Then I'll take second. And cast Dark Vision.
Abigail sleeping.
I'll take third again. Fourth, sorry. I want to redeem myself.
Then Agnes sleeps then.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. None of you guys know know what happened.
That's why I was saying it instead of
If
Arcee.
anything, the cat just saw Arcene poke her head out the tent at one point and then just go back to.
I mean, she got a 12. She didn't really see you slyly look through your tent.
Didn't see nothing.
Right, so who's first?
Boars. It don't like me.
When you get attacked by orcs, party over.
Boss sits down, hears a squeak, and does not think anything about it until he's being stabbed. No, so Boar, as your friends are sleeping, you decide that you're going to read a bit more into this book, and you get a fair bit through. The sky is pretty clear. The moon is waxing. It's just beyond a half moon.
All right, I'm trying to figure out the dragon spike.
Spirit.
Sorry.
It
One of the other.
It rarely makes mention of it in this book. It's sort of the odd line dropped. It never exactly refers to exactly what it may be. It's just sort of a name drop.
Okay.
However, come the end of your shift, despite the odd sort of cry of a nocturnal bird making you jump, nothing has happened or really caught your attention.
Yeah, quickly jumping like holding the hand. That's like, okay, it was just a bird.
You hear the slight flutter of wings go past.
It's like, boy, you're paranoid. You're okay, buddy.
All right, so you wake up whoever's on second.
I grab Cerno, kind of his hands, and I just basically give him a high five. I'm like, wake up, bro.
Yeah.
Walk to my.
Okay. I'm up. Maybe I'll sleep a little. Oh no, I'll get up. I'm up.
As soon as he mentions I'm going to go back to sleep, I drag out his sleeping bag outside and back to my tent.
Oh, come on, at least put it back, boy. I'm up now.
Bort throws it back in the tent. Walks off.
All right. Okay, Sano, as you sit somewhat mumbling to yourself somewhat. And wondering how long it will take your letter to reach where you came. You glance around and all seems quiet and still. And then you think you hear it's a soft voice on a breeze.
I look around. I've got dark vision casted as well, by the way.
Mm-hmm. You
Do you want
you
me to
don't see
cast it
anything.
now? And I'll
Uh,
just get rid
Nah,
of it.
it's fine. You hear so you hear the sort of soft voice on the breeze, and you turn in the direction, and it was somewhat northeasterly. And you sort of look out and can't see anything, no signs of a fire or such. And you sort of, somewhat curious, just sit back down, keeping your ears out and just glancing over in that direction. You hear a soft call again, slightly louder this time, still from the northeast. You can just about make out it's druidic, but other than that, you can't really tell. You're beginning to feel slightly unnerved. You're kind of sort of sat on the edge of your seat, slightly kind of fidgeting. A third time. This time, it is your name. Sano. And as you hear it,
Mushrooms did you not share with the
as you hear it, something somewhat weird happens. You sort of glance around nervously to realize that there are three rather familiar, ghostly looking animals just sat around near you. There's a bear, which is casually just cleaning himself, not really caring too much. There's a hawk pecking at the ground nearby. And as you turn, you also see the familiar unicorn spirit just trotting around, absent-mindedly.
Guys doing here?
You blink, and they're gone.
What are you not doing here?
Sign on the shrooms again.
You spend the vast majority of the rest of your watch sort of expecting something to happen. Nothing does. No more weird voices on the
Nobody
wind.
came.
No more spirits appearing randomly. It comes to the end and you wake whoever is next.
Which would be the Agnes.
I keep looking
'Cause-
towards the direction the sound came from.
No, it wasn't.
It was Savangel next.
Was it?
Yep.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Agnes isn't on watch today.
All right. So, Savangel, you happily wake up. For some reason, you seem to relish being in the night as well as being in the day. Maybe it's the fact that it's easier to sneak up on things. However, you spend your time on watch, padding around slightly, glancing out. It's getting a bit boring. You're getting used to this sort of view and terrain, and you wonder if you are going to go somewhere interesting again soon. However, not much happens on your watch. Again, the odd crow of a predatory nighttime bird, the flap of wings nearby. Apparently, a dog barking as well.
That's
As
Cerno
soon
in
as you
sleep.
said that, Rebel walked in. the
What Sono just just sleep shifts into animal form.
He's having a dream about his bone. No, this is my bone.
Oh, my bone. You can't have your bone back. It's mine now.
You're mine.
1 second. Let me close my door.
There's the doggos barking.
Bork,
Dogs.
bork, bork, bork.
Dogs
What?
will be on stream as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hi, Rebel. He's
I want to
sleepy.
be part of this.
All right. I accidentally
was
pulled my
fast.
headphones out because I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Ugh.
Anyway. Anyway.
Hmm.
Savangao, your shift comes to an end without much happening. You awaken Arsene, whose shift 2 is uneventful. Clouds start to roll in, and come
I
morning,
don't
there's
even
a.
get to roll.
You can roll if you want.
I got a 19. Thank you.
You notice with extreme detail that there's now fog.
Nice. I love me some good fog, you know.
Just think, if she'd rolled a natural one, we would have all woken up and she'd be like, "What fog?" We're like, "No."
What fog? I can't even see you guys for. I can't even see you guys. How would I even see this fog?
Don't be
No,
mean. Lassie is perfectly fine.
The fog is coming from the river in the early morning, and it doesn't quite reach up the hill where you guys are, but it looks like you may have to travel through a bit of it before the sun disperses it. However, morning comes, the rest of you awake, and you continue on the trail towards Tribor, I assume.
While it's
Seven
happening,
go meows while they're traveling just to see if she can find the dogs.
No
Agnes
wolves
is still
seem to appear.
silent.
Jono just keeps
Still
looking
silent.
in the direction,
All right.
thinking, contemplating.
Bork's thinking about reading his book, but is more focused on not hitting any trees while walking.
You know, you have a freaking cart you can sit in and read, smart one.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Shouldn't
reading it in a vehicle gives people headaches very easily.
Ugh,
Bah,
doesn't for some of us. Anyway,
That's honestly true.
Lucky.
you begin. The path winds down the hill gently and comes relatively close to the river before veering away. River being of pretty decent size, enough to make Agnes uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Even more to make Agnes uncomfortable.
As the path sort of veers away, and it is still definitely, you can still tell where the path is. However, it is beginning to slowly begin to have nature creep back onto it. Grass is regrowing, and it doesn't seem like it's been used in a while. You approach a small cluster of buildings, which you assume to be tribal. And
Before we get there,
Mhm.
I want Agnes to turn to, well, Boar and Cerno, mainly. Don't treat this like we did the last village we visited.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
think
He
place.
doesn't.
Whatever are you talking
He
about?
doesn't look at Agnes. He keeps looking direction.
Don't go around creating too much noise.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Mom. Okay.
You can see about 5, 6, maybe about 5. What we would assume would be about 5 houses and maybe 1 or 2 small store sheds or of that, something of similar nature. There
No
doesn't appear to
people?
be anyone in the town. There are no lanterns lit. You're far away, but enough to see. There are a few trees surrounding. However, there doesn't appear to be any activity whatsoever.
How long has it been inactive for? Can we tell?
Not from this distance.
Okay. Well, time to investigate. Might want to investigate.
Yeah, Boy's gonna go ahead and start stealthily looking through some of the windows to see what he can.
No, we're
Yeah.
not close enough yet.
You're
We
not
gotta
that
go there
close.
first.
When we get closer.
Okay. Well, we
Agnes
go.
is going
Okay.
to hang back from the group.
Okay, you
Alright.
can walk the rest of the way.
driving, take over.
Alright, I'll just walk beside the car then.
Well, you choose the most weird. Okay, no. But yeah,
Mhm.
Boar's when we get close enough, Boar's gonna poking his head through the windows to see.
Well, as you begin to approach Tribal,
Mhm.
it seems like a peaceful, small village. You heard that this is the furthest out point into the wilderness along the Sword Coast. And you can sort of see it. Things are relatively basic houses built for function. As you get close, you notice that the sort of vegetable patch behind one of the bigger houses is overgrown. Weeds seeming to have taken over, and the veg seems to be, well, some of it seems to have been dug up maybe by a wild animal or sorts. The chimneys sit with no smoke coming out. There's a cart along the street which is just sort of left there. But it's been turned on its side, and whatever it was carrying seems to have disappeared.
Oh, so.
Huh.
Can we tell if it feels more like everyone just suddenly disappeared, or if there was like, how do I describe it? As if suddenly everyone had to flee, kind of thing.
Can you
Is
tell a
anywhere
story
broken
from
into,
the sort
or
of area, like did they just disappear, etc.?
Right, so Arsene, roll an investigation check.
Ooh, my favorite.
Agnes, what were you doing? What did you want to figure out?
keeping back and seeing if there's any signs of attack from,
Make a
I guess,
perception check,
outside.
Agnes. So I know you were trying to.
Is there any wild animal sort of tracks? What are the wild animals that have come through here?
Make a survival check then, Sana.
This
Yay.
goddamn fog.
Agnes and
Seven
Arsene don't see shit.
Sevengal would like to smell the air to see if there's any sort of smoke or any kind of smell from civilization activities.
Roll perception check, Samangal. And is Boar going to do anything?
Boar's gonna look around to see the inside of the houses, just looking through the windows that he can.
All right, roll
Um,
investigation check, Boar.
Investigation. Oh yeah.
Right,
Woo.
Arsene, you're trying to remind me.
Trying to figure out what was the cause of all the residences to disappear.
Well, looking around, there it appears like things were just dropped sort of mid-day, from what you can see. There's an awful lot of footprints sort of on the roads already, and it's very hard to tell what would have been fresh for whenever this happened and what was already there. However, you do notice that most of the footprints, appear to be somewhat shoed, like what you have and what you expect to see around civilization. However, there are one or two which don't humanoid, but don't appear to be shoed. Right, Agnes, you sort of standing from your vantage point, having not quite gone into the village and sort of glancing around. You can't see any main means of attack. However, you do notice that the village doesn't have any defenses per se set up. It is just a small cluster of buildings. Sono, your survival check to look for the wild animals. You find a few tracks, some fresh, some old, of what appears to be perhaps rabbits, maybe a badger or something, which seems to have been using the vegetable patch as a source of decent food. Seems like they've been doing it for a little while now.
So nothing big, scary, and terrifying.
Nope, nothing much bigger than what you'd expect. There's the odd wolf track, but you would assume that's probably hunting the rabbits which have taken to this area. Seven
Nicholas,
Gal,
I was looking through these tracks. There are no other tracks of any kind.
they're human, but very faded on the ones which you're currently stood on. There
Okay.
you do notice a lot of tracks heading north. Both human and, both humanoid with shoes, and you also notice humanoid without shoes. Savangal, you smell no signs of nearby civilization. There, you can't smell any smoke or fires. There is nothing to indicate that there has been any fires nearby for the past while. Ninja, Boar,
Yeah, what's up, man?
you look through the houses and they seem almost as if what you'd see if you just looked into someone's house if they'd left for work. There doesn't seem to be much amiss.
So there's no messes. I mean, what?
You don't really see a mess. No, they just seem to be left.
Huh.
So everyone really did just up and
I-
disappear. That's how it feels like.
I mean,
Yell out.
considering that the highest roll was Comet and that was when he was looking at his tracks.
No, sorry.
I point
Blame
out
the
that there
dice.
seem to be a lot of humanoid tracks going north.
That's towards the plain, across the river and towards the plains.
I was going to say the river's north from here.
Not be much. There isn't supposed to be any civilization up that way, right? Well, not that we know of.
As far as we know, no.
Hmm.
Why would they have gone north? And so suddenly.
Well, like Cerno said,
It was rhetorical.
there's human and there's humanoid with. and
They
without
were all
shoes.
humanoid, but some appear to not have shoes.
We can't judge of that.
I
Sure,
start
Paul didn't wear
looking
shoes for a while.
Investigating.
Boar still doesn't wear
Or
shoes.
following
He
the
still doesn't wear shoes.
footprints.
You start to follow them. Does anyone else go along with Sano?
Yeah, I gladly
Yes,
go
again.
Might as well.
behind him.
Agnes takes the cart, or can they?
No,
Can
Can
they?
It's open plains. If you go slowly, the horse will be able to. You'll be able to pick a path through, which doesn't get the cart stuck.
Sweet.
But you'll go slowly, but you have to go slowly anyway for Sano to be able to follow the tracks. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, having seen these tracks, either one of you can make a survival check with advantage to try and follow them.
What's your survival?
+4.
Oh, mine's +4 too. I've been rolling like shit, so you're more than welcome.
Alright then. Survival check. I'll roll it again just in case for the next 20.
Nope.
Point.
Thank God, you
You
rolled
got
high
the two
anyway.
out the way. Okay, so you are able to follow these tracks, and you're not entirely sure how old they are, but they sort of go in a relatively straight line, only deviating to avoid major hazards, which on foot would be hard to get through. They definitely do head to the river. As you approach, you notice that there appear to be a few things not quite right with the riverbank.
Is it like caved in part? As if people have
What's
slipped
wrong
on
with
it?
it?
They're yeah, it's very ill. It's vomiting everywhere.
Agnes is
the,
hanging back with the cart on purpose.
the tracks seem to head towards a somewhat shallow part of the river. However, so the grass has been somewhat flattened and is only sort of now just beginning to. It's no longer completely flattened, but it's at an odd angle, as if something quite heavy had been on top of it for a while, and some of it's slightly miscolored.
So like there was
The
a
tracks
place.
seem to sort of go to where these places were, and yeah. What were you going to say, Comet?
Boats. Likely.
No.
Probably boats sitting on the. Which way
I
does
was
the
thinking
water
like a
flow?
makeshift bridge.
Where's the
Maybe.
water
Makeshift
flow?
bridge.
A makeshift bridge.
Water
Maybe.
flows west.
Oh, they could have gone against
West?
the current,
I'd be impressed with that.
but it's more likely that they.
It's quite a wide river, so on surface it doesn't look like it doesn't look like there's too much flow. But if you were sort of to go underwater and sort of lower into the more center of the river, there'll be a substantial speed.
Can we see across to the other side?
Yeah, you can.
Do we see any boats?
Perception check.
Right.
More
I'm
marks?
gonna look for that as well.
Do we just want to roll it with advantage then? The highest perception. We're all looking.
I have a +2 for mine.
+4. Anyone beat that?
Was it for survival, was it?
For
Now we're
what?
just looking.
Perception.
Oh, I have a
Perception.
+4 on perception too.
3.
Alright,
Right,
I'll
so which
just
of us
roll it with
are looking?
advantage.
Two of you can roll, or one of you can roll with advantage. Well, comment, Sano. Roll with advantage. Needing to sort of use Boar slightly to climb up on him to be able to get a slightly better view across the river and
It's a fairy
onto the other
lighthouse.
onto the
Yeah.
bank. You can see what appears to be a similar sort of flattening of grass on that side, although it seems to be there's sort of clumps of it being pulled out and bits of mud have been pulled, and you can just about make out what you think is several logs sort of lashed together in a makeshift sort of looking raft with a small with a bit of rope sort of going to a peg, but it's sort of just drifting and hitting against the side of the bank, looking rather soaken.
So, I think they went across to the other side. How do we get across?
Gavingo looks at Boar like, so you gonna toss him?
So it was a
No.
makeshift bridge then.
A smile slowly creeps up on Boy.
No.
Not this time.
How wide is this river?
You're looking pretty decently wide.
Could Boy jump
know,
like half of it?
No. Unless you're willing to log.
Think Thames in Reading.
Ooh, that's a big river.
That don't help.
It's big.
Okay, it big.
I'm amazed they managed to build a makeshift bridge then.
Can we look for a makeshift
I don't
bridge?
think it was a
It was a
bridge.
raft.
A raft, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, what about your guys' freeze water spell that you have? You've got
And what,
two
we
of you.
float across?
I don't know. With the
I mean-
parrot, you can make 10 foot.
Whilst you guys are discussing this, I'm going to disappear quickly. I'll be back shortly.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
We can freeze 5 feet.
we could freeze 5 feet at a time.
It would then start to flow down river, and
Can I have better suggestions?
we turn
Might be
back.
Something, I guess. Maybe there'll be something in the town we
We're here to
can
help
use.
people.
But
Agnes, we're here to help people.
Yeah, but
What did you say?
water is no-no.
Agnes, we're here to help people. Maybe these people have been.
If we can't get there, we can't help them. That is not
Mm-hmm.
our problem.
Not gonna lie, I'll be very impressed if they've all been kidnapped across a river like this, but
Can't
It's possible,
even
I guess.
transform into anything that swims yet.
Thurno?
need to look at more species.
Could
Thurno,
always.
Yes?
can you pick up the water and like have it like flow above us while we walk underneath it?
Dude, that'd be fucking amazing.
Can we?
That would be cool, but I only pick up a 5 few bit of time.
You
and-
instantaneously move, otherwise change the flow of water as you direct up to 5 feet in any direction.
Hmm.
So basically, he could be a
uh,
mini Moses halfway.
We could both do it.
That'd give us 10 feet, but it'd be tight. Not to mention, it's only 5 feet tall. I'll be fine because I'm, you know, I'm me. But you know, the rest of you, trying to get a bit of a soggy head. To be honest, having a soggy head for a really long period of time isn't good.
Depends
No.
how deep this river is. But
Oh, more people are being back. Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't
Sure,
know.
we'll figure something out.
I mean, there's got to be.
we could always
something
make a
we
raft
could-
like they did.
Yeah, I was about to say we could find a way. Wait, is the
Hmm.
raft?
So go back to town to see if there's any supplies we could use.
The raft is the other side of the river.
And it's not much of a raft anymore.
Oh, okay. Back in. Comment said here. Let's go start
How-
looking to see if we can find. What about the flipped over cart?
How
Could we
deep
use
is the
that as a
river?
raft?
It's hard to tell, but you assume that you wouldn't be able to walk across it.
Because we were talking about Agnes and Cerno using the shape water to stop the flow and basically part the water to walk across.
You do realize it's about 170 feet across.
Yeah, but you change the 5 feet where it is so that it's like a bubble around them.
True, true.
And because we both have 5 feet, we would. I don't know how we'd do it, but we'd have 10 feet, 2 5-foot cubes.
It'd be very hard to squish that many people in now that I think about it. Unless you
Mm.
guys make multiple trips. I'm not sure how you'd feel about that.
No.
If you were to standing in the middle, you would be relatively submerged.
Oh.
You're talking a couple of meters deep. This is a very big river.
And we're not doing that.
Then yeah,
Mm,
we're just
like-
gonna go ahead and go look at the flipped over cart and see if we could makeshift that into a raft.
Yeah, can we search the area for anything that could get across the river?
There doesn't appear to be much on this side of the bank. There's the odd tree.
Can we go Can we go borrow some of the things from town? Because clearly no one's gonna say no.
I think that's a good idea.
Hey, can we borrow a boat? What do you need it for? We can't cross the river.
Yes,
I'm okay
yes,
with it.
there's no one to say no.
Well, Ball was looking at the car, or is that
Yeah,
not
the cart that
water?
already is there.
Sorry, whatever
Would
it's
that
called.
not work?
I mean, the cart would float, but it wouldn't stay dry.
And I'm
No,
not.
no,
I'm a
no,
bit worried
not
about
our
risking
cart.
the loss of our.
The cart that's been flipped
Oh.
over.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Hmm.
A little
What
worried
about the
there.
horse,
The
though?
cart that had it. No, not our cart. The cart that's
Yeah,
been
but we'd
flipped on
leave it
its side.
behind.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
it'll
just
be
hide
fine.
it somewhere.
Yeah.
We've done that before.
Yeah, boy's gonna go see if how the cart's condition is going to be to see if he could probably break off the side and use it as a raft.
The cart's walls aren't that high. You may be able to get Cerno a raft, but
Oh.
you think you may struggle with getting all of you to float on it.
Could boy swim across?
Well, there's nothing stopping him from trying.
Boy's
Oh,
gonna try to
no.
swim across real quick.
No.
Mm.
I mean, I'm welcome to try and go across on my own. Just see if I can see if they could tracks continue or anything.
Yeah, that'd be a
You
good
could
idea.
be a
But
dead end
I don't
for all
want
we
you
know.
going alone, little buddy. I mean, I can hang onto the raft behind you and kind of propel you forward.
It'll be cool.
It's a long,
You get
it's a
across it,
long
what do
way.
you think? Not afraid of water.
Hmm.
That's something he isn't afraid of.
Well,
That's a stab. Okay.
We could still use the theory of having Board check us over.
God,
I think I
that's
could.
I'm going to
720
say
feet.
no.
I don't think
Boy's
you can
gonna
throw us
find a rock
120 foot.
and see if he can skip it across.
Oh,
Skipping
fuck,
across is
wait.
different.
Can I send
than-
Night Eyes to just fly over? I forgot about Night Eyes. I'm sorry, Night Eyes. I love you.
There's nothing stopping your dragon from flying over this river. It's just quite a large river.
I know, so you'd have to come back after. But just one. Can I just like point out the tracks that we've been following and be like, can you see if there's any more of these over there?
Certainly. Roll a
I'm sorry, Night Eyes.
survival check for Night Eyes.
No. Hold up. No, you're fine. The PDF. I didn't think to open it. It's in my that folder.
Not the PDF.
Not the PDF, the Excel sheet. I have it downloaded as a PDF.
What?
Night Eyes has a survival of +1.
Really, thank you. Yeah, my survival's better.
I mean, you're a
You got
ranger.
a 7. Night House isn't interested. He's been sleeping.
You'll manage to persuade him awake with a small offering of dried meat, and you give him your instructions, and he flies across the river. And once he gets a fair bit over halfway, the limited telepathic communication from him disappears. You can just about make out the small dot sort of flying around above on the other side of the bank, and when he comes back, he relays a small amount of information to you. There is only a small part of a raft which appears to be left, although there appears to be one or two sort of stakes with frayed rope where they seemingly must have tied up the rafts or done something with them, but they are no longer there. And the ground sort of a little bit beyond the bank is quite flattened down, and the sort of like areas of dirt and a few stones dotted around, which would assume may have been fire pits a while ago.
Nice.
Boy's gonna just. How strong is the current right now?
From the surface, it appears to be a sort of lazy flow. However, I would say Cerno knows that these rivers, although the surface may look calm, the currents underneath them can be pretty strong.
Boy's gonna just
the
see if he can
footprints are
swim
going
across.
in a direction. What's in the opposite direction? They're all going
The
in-
town.
Essentially, yeah, where you've come from, the town.
Yeah, but beyond the town. Like they're
You
running.
didn't see the footprint.
They start at
the
the town
footprint-
running from something. So what are they
Oh,
running
so
from?
sort of what's beyond over here?
Yeah, like they're running.
South.
Yeah, what's the south?
From where you stand, you can see sort of hills, odd clusters of trees, and in the very distance, massive mountain peaks.
You don't suppose it's those orcs we've been told about?
Anything's possible.
Yep. I
There's
mean, at
nothing
this
else
point.
in town, is there?
Who was that directed to?
Sorry.
We
DM
have-
DM question. There's nothing else in town. Everyone's looks for everything.
Oh, I mean, you guys did a brief check and then followed the tracks.
Oh, we lost the ghost. Boy's gonna go ahead and start looking through the town to see if he can find anything of use or indicate what happened.
All right. Well, roll another investigation check. Welcome
Roll with
back.
advantage. 'Cause
All right. Roll with advantage then. As Boar and Sono investigate the town.
and not wake it all up.
Because I can't spell searching. There's a 19 and an 18. And my
All right.
investigation is a 0, so.
So both you and Sano sort of pick through the town, and you notice, sort of going through the houses, the doors are unlocked. You notice a bit more that stuff seems to be sort of left in a slight hurry, rather than what you first saw as just being left ordinarily. Searching around, you notice that you can't actually find any real weapons in this town. Where you would assume they may be stored, you just don't find any.
Any
Mhm.
blood or anything around? Or is it just like a major hurry to get the help?
No, you do actually see now that you take your time, you do notice that there are actually uh, several patches of blood, sort of, but it's what you assume may have been blood. The ground's miscolored now, and there's quite a lot of sort of scuffled and footprints around them. You would assume it's blood. However, it's clearly been here quite a while, and it's dried off.
Okay.
You do, however, notice that the tracks which you were following, ignoring your own footprints, there's tracks coming and going.
Oh. Towards this direction over here?
North.
North? Okay, so coming from the river and back over as well.
Heading to and from the river from the town.
So we do gotta get across that damn river.
Well, I can use the use that cart, float across on my own. You guys keep looking
Boy's
for maybe
going
another way
to-
across.
The tracks coming back from the river, are they the maiden?
Nope. Jam's beep booping slightly.
very loud and beep.
Are they what? Sorry, Jam?
The ones coming back, are they shoot or are they just the bare?
I don't know. are
Roll
they?
a survival check.
Oh,
You want me to
oh.
do it?
No.
okay, no.
No, this is Agnes.
Just Agnes have for survival.
Oh,
You're struggling somewhat to differentiate your own tracks from the tracks which you were following. You definitely were the ones which added the horse and cart tracks. Tracks in both directions seem to be chewed and unchewed. You can't really tell which set is newer and which set is older, however.
Yeah, with that, boy's gonna slowly break down the cart towards just the bottom part.
Or just break it down enough so that I can
Yeah,
float it.
break it down enough to where
you mean take the
it's
wheels off?
floatable.
Effectively.
Yeah.
So you're gonna remove the wheels, the axles.
Oh yeah. Boy's gonna
I
basically take
recommend
the
we
hand
do
axe.
it closer to the
stuff.
riverbank.
Otherwise, carrying be a problem.
Yeah, I don't particularly feel like carrying it.
Boy starts dragging it.
I start.
Also,
pushing.
what is Cerno going to do the other side by himself? And how is he going to definitely get there and not float downstream?
That's why I offered to. That's why I offered to kind of go behind him, and kind of help be a little guide.
You're going to go behind and swim?
Yeah,
He's
I'm gonna
eventually
push
gonna
the
push the
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't entirely recommend that, Boar. I mean, after all, well, you know, river currents are sort of strong. Get a little further in, and down, so, you know.
Why are we tired? Well, me. No, we're still gonna do it anyways.
What's Arsene, Agnes, and Savangal doing whilst Boar and Cerno are beginning to take the cart to bits?
Does anyone have an axe?
Savangal was looking through other people's stuff to see like what kind of people they were.
So in the town, we'll roll an investigation for that.
Boy's using his hand axe right to.
I have
off
a shovel.
stuff.
I was thinking of cutting trees down.
There's
Okay.
one or two trees.
I
Four
know.
hands are the axe.
Ah.
Have fun.
Savangal, they appear to be simple folk. As I said before, you can't find any form of weapon anywhere. The simple folk seem to get by day. You find a few cutting axes, a few fishing rods, and a few sort of oars, one or two nets, a few cages, which you assume sort of little wooden cages, which you assume would be for them to trap some sort of life which lives underwater. And there seemed to be predominantly a sort of fishing village, along with getting by doing a bit of wood cutting and that sort.
Savangal picks up an axe and starts goes up to Boar and hands him the axe like, here, this would be easier.
Oh no, Boar apparently had one. Gave it to Agnes.
Also, it is a little walk between the village and the river.
Use the cart, carry it over.
Agnes was going to take the axe and start chopping a tree
I
by
know
the
what I'll
river.
do when I'm across the other side. That was that makeshift raft. I'll bring it back across. All of you can.
What's left of it? I don't think there's much of a raft left.
Oh, was there not much left?
No, it's only, from what you can see, only a few logs still lashed together with sort of trailing rope.
Oh.
Can I
Savangal
try
helps
and cut?
Agnes chop down trees.
There are not many trees around here. There's 3, 4 in the nearby vicinity.
Are there any decently sized trees that aren't like?
Any decently sized trees that aren't what? Sorry,
Twigs?
there's about 1 or 2.
Going down.
All right. Well, if you're both attacking trees, roll strength checks. And Boar, I would like you to roll a dexterity check for disassembling the cart.
Okay.
This should be
Sorry, Savangal and Agnes athletics checks.
athletics.
Yeah.
That's even better. Eh?
Back in the car. Back in the car.
Right.
Yeah, she got to say.
Well, you. So, Agnes, Savangal, it takes you a little while, but you both manage to eventually fell your trees. It takes about 2 hours or so to remove some of the branches and essentially get them down to essentially 2 logs. Or you're sort of just pulling bits off the cart, and you're not really paying attention to exactly what you're doing or where certain bits go. And as you go to grab something and you just hear and you look and you realize you've literally just gone and snapped one of the axles in half.
Oops.
You realize you may not be able to put this back together again as a functioning cart.
This isn't our cart, by the way. This is the one from in town.
That wasn't a 4-wheel cart. That's sort of like a little wheelbarrowed wagon thing, as in a 2-wheeled sort of cart. Think Skyrim-esque.
Well, that's what they were using.
It was being Sorry, that was slightly my mistake. When I said the cart there, I meant sort of something which someone could hold with two hands and drag behind them, enough to be able to increase the load which they could carry, but not something. For Sono, it would make a chariot. For everyone else, it would be more akin to a very large wheelbarrow. Yours
Would
is a
Cerna
proper.
be able to float in it?
You're not too sure. Whereas your car is actually planks of wood, which are sort of nailed together and form a decent body and chassis and axles. This is more something not quite made of willow and weave together, but it's close to it. You're not sure. It survives its purpose as being able to lift and transport things, but you're not sure just how well it would do in water.
Oh,
Awesome.
You could definitely break it into kindling, but
so that could be a problem.
Okay.
Well, there goes the plan to raft across.
Okay.
Question on the physics side. Out of character.
yeah,
Are spiderwebs waterproof?
they can be relatively strong depending if they're going in the right direction. However,
All
they
right.
do need it attached to things.
I know.
Otherwise, they're just essentially like tying rope to one tree and throwing it into the water. It's just going to end up all alongside the bank.
All right. I gave Agnes that thing, didn't I?
Yeah. So we have 2 fallen trees that will float. We could do the old fashioned and simply sit on them and try and push our way across.
Or
Guys,
Hmm.
this is a fishing village, so shouldn't they have
Yes.
boats?
I assume the
Well, we looked and
boats
we didn't
you
find
search
any.
are what's left on the other side of the river.
Doesn't look like boats. It looks like a bit of a makeshift raft. Savangao found fishing rods in the village, and you only looked at the tracks around here. You followed the
Investigate
tracks.
more.
You followed the recent tracks.
Agnes
To the
goes to
river.
look for boats
Where? You followed recent tracks to the river.
along the river.
All right, roll investigation check.
D-
16. Agnes, keeping her distance from the bank, but makes her way along the west of it, having just fallen a tree for some reason, and eventually comes across a path which does appear to lead from the village to a small little jetty in the river, sort of tucked into one of its meanders, hidden away from where you guys were standing, but there are 2 small rowboats.
Alright. Okay then.
boy starts walking
Wow.
towards the rowboat, just like
You followed the recent tracks. You didn't bother to see if there was a path which led to the river.
was just gonna be like,
My thought was if they were running away, they would have gone to where they know boats would be, but apparently not.
So what does that tell you?
I don't know.
That the people who came here didn't find the original boats, and they're not good at building boats.
that seems about right.
It means
The people who were running away weren't locals.
my brain hurts.
Words.
Can we
There
just
could be
get
a
on
few
the boat now?
explanations for. Will the boats withstand a lot of us?
The boats should be able to fit 3 of you. It would probably be best to put Sono in the boat which doesn't have Boar in it.
Can
Wait.
Seven go back to the town and see if she can find the mayor's office to see if, because usually when things go wrong, politicians are usually the first one to have rides or something.
Yeah, she can certainly make her way back along the path. You go
Should just be
to-
going back and forth.
Yeah, you have. You've been sort of wandering back and forth. It's getting to sort of mid-afternoon by now. You make your way to the mayor's, to what you assume must be person sort of mayor-like, largest house. You don't really find any documents or such talking about things going to shit.
They left in a hurry. They wouldn't have written paperwork for it.
All right, we can go on the boats now.
We've tied the horse and cart up, with the horse having enough lead to wander around.
Okay. So, I assume Savangal also picks up some of the oars which she had noticed on her
Yep.
previous search around and merrily heads back to the rest of the party with 2 small rowboats.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a jetty on the. There isn't a small sort of landing jetty on the other side of the river, but you think you should be able to get the boats over there, pull them up, and be all right.
Mm-hmm.
So much fat for nothing.
Stop pointing it out. We cut down 2 trees. It's fine.
They're just 2 fallen trees for no reason now. Right,
Shush.
so, deciding to not talk about the trees which you guys spent a while cutting down and the small cart you spent a while disassembling, you somewhat sheepishly get into the 2 boats, undo the ropes tying them, push off, and using the oars collected by Savangal, slowly row yourselves across to the other side of the bank. As you go across, you're trying to go in a straight line, but you do find yourself drifting significantly to the east when you get about midway, with it being able to straighten out a bit more after you get across the middle section of the river. Agnes is sat in one, taking a lot of deep breaths, eyes
Yep.
closed. However, you eventually get to the other side, where the person at the front is able to hop out, hold the boat somewhat still for the others to get out, and you manage to pull the boats onto the bank.
Agnes gets out and immediately walks about to me and just watches them deal with the rest of the boat.
All right. But there's nothing to really tie them up on. You've just pulled them onto the ground.
I
Pull 'em up
pull
so
out
they don't
my
drift away or anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Board pulls both of them out of the water.
I mean, I said that you guys did that already, but
Yeah.
sure.
Sorry.
You're literally just repeating the 2 things which I said last, but sure,
I'm
sure.
sorry.
You can do it
it's
again.
It's going beep boop now.
It doesn't feel
Mm.
right if some extraterrestrial force does it for us.
All right, you're now stood on the other bank. Boats have been taken out of the water. The oars are in them. They aren't going to drift away anytime soon.
I'm going to check to see if we can figure out which way the tracks are.
You may want to go ahead to the other side, back down the river.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We go. Yeah.
And shouldn't the ranger do it? Don't know who.
Yeah.
You are able to pick your way back east along the river and come across where Arsene is able to tell what Night Eyes had seen before.
Sweet.
There appears to be a lot of sort of flattened grass, a few old fireplaces, not much else. from what you can tell currently.
There any
No
signs
tracks?
of a direction going anywhere? Tracks leading somewhere.
Investigation.
Boy's gonna
Who?
with investigation.
+1.
I got +2. No one else.
I have a 0.
Okay, it's +2, and I'll roll at advantage then.
Indeed.
Well,
Wow.
20 in total.
First.
do I get any bonuses for rolling the same way?
I'm gonna say no.
Aw.
However, you are able to discern that this is quite a large camp. However, hasn't been used for significant amount of time. The tracks from the water that aren't they're about the same number as from that you followed from the town. However, on the edge of the camp, heading sort of northwesterly, there appears to have been several carts which left, and may have even also arrived.
Okay.
And they head north.
They head northwest.
You follow?
Yeah.
By
Mhm.
foot.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
Well,
don't have
the
much
horse and
outside.
cart didn't get across the river with you. That's all. I
How
can say.
late in the
It's sort of late afternoon, getting close to sort of the sun's hanging relatively low in the sky. Another hour or so and it'll be setting.
I say we don't head too far, otherwise we'll have to camp. I believe our camping stuff is on the cart. I do.
Yep. And you did
Mhm.
say you brought it. All right.
We
Well,
can track for a bit.
what was you going to say something, Comet?
I just said, oh, bugger. Well,
Well,
sleeping out under the stars is something I'm used to.
you start to follow the tracks for about
Mhm.
an hour or so, and you notice that these are. There were indeed one set of tracks here, one set of tracks back, several carts, several horses, a lot of foot traffic as well. After following them for about an hour, they seem to head in a general sort of northwesterly direction. Nothing has really caught your eye so far.
Do you want to sleep or do we keep going?
I suggest we sleep. Whether we head back and get our camping stuff, I would prefer.
And I thought I'd hear that you want to go back across the river.
I didn't say we go back. I say we fetch it.
Okay, so one of
Agnes
us
never said
fetches
she would be the one fetching it either.
it.
Of course.
Alright. Never go get it then.
Oh,
We'll
hell.
continue following the tracks in the morning.
All right. So you head back the way you came, and after about an hour or so, you manage to get back, sending several of you to go across the river, collect your camping and traveling supplies out of your own cart, making sure that the horse is okay before coming back. The sun has now indeed set, as you are now have your gear on the northern side of the river.
While they're getting the stuff from the cart, can Agnes see if the tracks have changed? Are they the non-shoed humanoid ones?
There are shoed, non-shoed, cart, and horse tracks.
Hmm. Any signs of scuffs again?
No signs of combat or any sort of thing seems to be around here. So I assume you set up camp and
Yeah.
sleep for the night.
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Agnes was the tent furthest away from the river.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a relatively restful night for most of you. However, Cerno, you can't help but feel a slowly growing sense of dread about the sort of circumstance that you're seeing before you. Hard for you to place, but something about it feels familiar and very worrying. However, those feelings do pass as you go back to being curious and intrigued by the appearance
sounds.
of your. Those aren't mine for once. Of
Mm.
your spirit animals the previous night.
They visit me again.
No, you're just curious about it still.
Wasn't it push to talk, Ninja?
He stopped now.
Night fades away, giving through to dawn as you guys wake up. What do you do? The sound of the river flowing is still there.
Follow the
Abigail starts
tracks.
meowing. Just meowing at them to see if any dogs are around.
Shut up!
You do not hear any dogs deciding to follow the sound of the meowing.
Let's follow the tracks then.
Follow the leader. All right.
Leader.
Survival track. Survival check, please.
Wait, am I the only one doing that?
No.
Whoever's leading it.
Should I do it as advantage?
Either two of you can roll it, or one of you can. All right.
Ow.
You're able to quite easily follow these tracks. The grass has been flattened down quite substantially. The carts traveling to and from have their grooves are still in the sort of soft earth. It's clear
Are the
that
carts recent?
the carts are just as old as the tracks, which are just as old as the foot tracks. It is clear that this is not a usual pathway, and that this is sort of must be in a trip there and a trip back. You follow them with relative ease, however, and for most of the day they sort of head in a somewhat straight line, weaving ever. Approaching about midday or so, you're walking along, and whoever's at the front, make a perception check.
I'd begin the cart leading.
We
You don't
We're
have
not
a
in a-
cart.
Oh, right. Never mind.
I guess it's me if I was leading the.
Have to be.
You're too busy following the tracks. Someone else can roll. Perception.
I can.
Alright, I can do it as well.
Well, never mind. The druid
What?
has. So no, you're kind of happily following along, just having a small tune to yourself, when something catches the corner of your eye. What appears to be a sort of ancient stone obelisk. The ground sort of around it seems to dip slightly, and the obelisk itself is tilted and leaning with vines and all sorts sort of crawling up it. From where you're standing, it looks, well, somewhat out of place.
Savagil would like to cast Identify on it.
It's not within 30 feet yet.
I pointed out to everyone and make a slight diversion towards it. And I'm very scared about this because I've seen the Puffin Forest video.
White
Yeah.
The what?
Don't worry. It's essentially a
Thumbs up.
video where a
Thumbs
guy
down.
talks about his D&D experiences, and there's one where they're playing through a Wizard of the Coast adventure, and it's essentially a group of DMs DMing for several groups of players, and they're having this. And this section which they're in, there's essentially this stone pillar, this obelisk, which contains a very powerful creature. And the only way the players can get into combat with this is they purposely cast Identify onto this obelisk and realize that there's something magical about it, and then all of them purposely push it over. And essentially, the guy who's talking about the video, it was, of course, his group which decided to do this. And summon a very strong and powerful demon, which basically buggered around a bit and then disappeared. Okay, so you decide to deviate from the course of the tracks which you have been following. They are definitely the tracks seem to not steered around them, but definitely didn't go towards them. So just ignored that it existed. You make your way over, and as you get closer, you see it is in a slight dip, and it seems to be some sort of white stone. It's now overgrown, quite chipped, and it's got lichen and ivy crawling up it. Whatever was inscribed or carved into this thing has long since disappeared.
Huh.
Savingle casts Identify on it.
Oh dear.
All right. Roll an Arcana check, please. Well, having cast Identify, and are you doing that ritually or?
Ritually.
Okay. So you take some time sitting around, beginning to cast Identify, and when you do so, there's actually something which catches your eye. Sano appears to be glowing, sort of with divine energy, which you only now notice that your Identify has come into effect. You're sort of casting it looking at the pillar, however, just out of the corner of your eye, to which your focus then shifts to, is Sano. And it's rather peculiar. You haven't seen him like this before.
Do I notice it, or am I just in awe of the thing that's really tall?
I was going to say, is he glowing because of her spell?
Savangal is only noticing this because of her spell is essentially pointing it out to her. You aren't visibly glowing.
That's pretty cool.
Sir, no, you're glowing.
Oh, thank you. You look very nice today yourself.
No. Like there's like Arcana stuff being indicated that it's pointing to you.
I look down.
Is that this moment? No, you aren't visibly glowing. However, as you look down, it's at this moment you literally see your spirit hawk fly straight out of your chest. Everyone else also sees this.
Don't do that!
Sano.
I pat my chest. Don't do that. It's creepy.
It kind of circles around you once, twice, and then flies straight into the pillar.
Sano, what did you do?
That wasn't me. Okay.
Magic doesn't happen on its own.
Well, it's not like I control the damn thing, right? He's a friend. Well, he puts up with me, like a lot of you.
The bear is just lying on its back, sort of just staring at you.
Can I go and pet the bear?
It's spiritual. As you go to pet it, your hand just sort of passes through it.
So the bear's there. Is the unicorn there?
You glance around, and you don't seem to see it yet.
So-
Savingle is very confused.
I look up to the
What the
obelisk
hell?
and
Sano?
go, "Hello? Were you the thing that's speaking to me last night?" And I tap it with a finger.
As you tap
Something
it
speaking to you.
with a finger, the obelisk suddenly starts to glow. You start to take a step back, before you notice that your bear friend runs straight into it. And suddenly, a bright white flash.
Oh,
Cerno.
How far away is everyone else standing from this obelisk, out of curiosity?
Agnes would have been
That's
part
right.
of the way. Agnes would have been.
Range-wise?
Seven Go would have been like right up to it because she just recently casted the identify spell.
All right.
I would have been right next to
Gone.
it since I tapped it.
Yeah.
I'm
Everyone
trying
else?
to think.
Probably,
Like,
um,
20 feet.
yeah, about that, maybe 25. I've seen
Alright.
monsters
Ford
stay at
is
the back.
probably like 15 feet behind him.
All right. So, with this bright flash of white light, Savangel, your vision also goes white. So does Boar's. For Arsene and
Oh.
Agnes, you can see that the obelisk is now sort of pulsing with a gentle white energy. There seems to be a similar sort of this. You can't see your friends anymore, and the glowing is
Oh.
slowly getting brighter.
Hmm.
And there appears to be a sort of aura which extends to about 15 feet out, or just surrounding this obelisk and glowing slightly brighter and brighter.
Cerno, what did you do?
You get no reply.
Can I stick my hand in the aura?
As Arsene approaches and
This
sticks her
can go
hand
so well.
into the aura, you see that she gets sucked in.
Oh shit.
Not violently, but sort of just pulled in gently. Even though it doesn't look like
Okay.
she's walking, she just merges into it, and your vision also goes white.
Fuck.
Agnes?
Oops.
Taking steps back slowly. This is weird. This is weird. It's weird. For goodness sake. Nope, and she walks forward into it.
Alright, and
Mhm.
as you step into it, there's yet another. Your vision is obscured by white. Eventually, the light fades onto something somewhat peculiar. Sono, you're the first to be able to see. And as the light fades, in front of you is a somewhat familiar looking white pillar. However, it is carved elegantly and detailed. It seems to have displayed trees, vines, all sorts of nature. Next to it are two braziers, which are burning, giving off a nice, gentle scent. There's a small altar in front. You glance around. There are trees, shrubs, a dense forest surrounding you. The ground does seem to have the same sort of small curve down into a sort of bowl shape, which where the pillar was standing beforehand. Quite far back, you turn behind you and you notice your friends are stood there. But there's something slightly different about them. Takes you a second or two to realize. And at this point, everyone else is beginning to able to see as well, glancing around. Looking at each other, you notice that you look the same. However, you seem ever so slightly not quite there.
Oh,
No.
Having fought... let's see, what have you thought? I don't think you have fought anything. I don't think you have fought anything corporeal. It's as if you're there, but you're not quite there, and everyone has a slight blue shimmer to them.
Oh.
Can I touch myself?
Can I?
Like, pat my chest and stuff?
You touch and you feel like you have some sort of consistent. You can't push your hand through, but it's not quite like touching a humanoid form.
Can I go poke Sono?
You go to
See what it
move,
does.
but you can't.
I was going to say, can Agnes move?
You feel somewhat rooted in the spot.
Cerno, what did you do?
I didn't
Sure
do
no.
anything!
I
It
can't
wasn't me
move.
this
Hello?
time, I
I
swear!
can
I
poke you.
actually didn't do anything!
Sono, come
Almost
here
a
so I can
Sono?
poke you.
backbite.
You hear You hear a small whisper in Druidic. Prove yourself.
What now?
And as you turn to hear where the whisper came from, you look towards the obelisk, and a creature which you have never seen before stands in front of you. It looks very real. Scaled hide, a head with 3 horns protruding, and as its skull goes back, it seems to flare out. 4 massive paws, feet, hooves, sort of paws at the ground slightly. You feel yourself, everyone else feels their ability to move. The creature lowers its head slightly in what appears to be a bow before it starts to walk forward, and I'd like everyone to roll initiative.
Go.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
I'm
no.
going to give a slight bow as well. What is my initiative? It's a +3.
Isn't this
Oh.
fun, guys?
I've got the biggest smile on my face.
Shut
I really do. This is
another
great.
one.
Not only did Agnes get over 10, she got 20.
Oh
Was-
yay!
This is a
Oh look,
proud
me and Ken
moment.
are going at the same time.
There you go.
Hey.
Oh my god, this looks a big. Fucking
Agnes is blaming
Triceratops.
Cerno for all of this.
I have a big smile on my face.
It's
This is
a
awesome.
fucking dinosaur. I'm so happy with this.
But
Right?
not even the bit before that. Like the build up to it. This is cool. I like
Agnes is blaming Cerno for all this.
I would be able to do what I think. Wait,
God, I've got to think. I'm going to.
my movement is 40, so I can do what I want.
All right.
Oh, right. I need to add my initiative, which was the 21, the same as the cat. Oh, you did it for me.
So
Okay.
everyone has added their initiative.
Me.
Salmon Gal,
Yeah.
whoa. What are you doing?
I wait for what the cat does.
Savango would like to cast Dissonant Whispers on the thing.
All right. Now I'm gonna have to look up what this does. Dissonant whispers. It needs to make a wisdom saving throw. Also, none of you recognize what this creature is. Just saying. Obviously, we all know it's a
Well,
Triceratops.
did.
Obviously, we all know it's a Triceratops, but as in your characters have no idea.
Yeah.
And it fails its saving throw. So,
Yay!
within range, breaking it with terrible pain and tightness must immediately use its reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from you. All right then. So it takes 8 points of damage, which means it is damaged, and its movement speed. So as both Boar and Savangel start to take a step forward, she opens her mouth in a weird sort of hissing noise, which you haven't. It sounds like a cat-like hiss, but it seems to have weird echoes and movements to the sound, which you're not really sure. And you see this creature's eyes suddenly get a bit larger, almost in fear, shake its head rapidly before beginning to turn. And I will just let you know now, the orange box is simply so you know what squares the creature is taking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For it sort of turns and heads away around
Oh, you son of a bitch.
the pillar.
You shouldn't have waited for the cat to go.
No,
Well,
I
you'll
shouldn't
tell.
have waited for the damn cat to go, because now I can't fucking run up and uppercut the damn thing.
Hey, it has to run away from her, and that's the only feasible place.
I'm going to use a dash action. With that, I have 40 feet, so I'd have 80, right? If I did the dash?
Yep.
So, that's not what I wanted to do. This, so 40 gets me to here. 45.
Pro
gets
tip:
rid of
if you
their-
click on your character to pick him up
Okay.
and press space, it then does the measurement line. If you then press space again, it will put a point, and you can continue measuring from it.
Press space and go
Oh,
here.
space.
Is you're holding on? If you're holding on to him,
Yes.
so
Like
press and
this.
hold to pick up, say, boar, and then press
Okay.
space, and you can measure.
I
And
can't.
if you then
So,
you're still holding onto your mouse button to hold on to boar,
That's 50 feet there.
and then if you press space again after already pressing space, it'll put a dot, and it will allow you to make multiple to sort of measure out movements around. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
The cat's fucking showing off.
Wait. Does it move to all those points then?
Yep.
In that wow.
So it's creating a path.
Okay, well, let
Wow.
me redo that really quick. Oh, Jesus Christ, okay. So, grab him. Grab boy. Press that. Move all the way up to right here. Which that creates a point here. Be 50. That'll be 50 here. Press space again. To 80 here. And that's where boy goes. And
Alright.
I can't do anything. Yeah, I can't do anything. That requires the bonus action. So, boy's waiting now.
Agnes, your turn.
Okay, make sure I'm getting this right. Gotta read this. That's 30 feet, right?
Hmm?
Yeah. 30 feet, and then I use Maximilian's Earth Grasp, and I use a sorcery point to double the distance and become 60 feet, which I believe can reach.
Yep. You would summon it, essentially, you would summon it, say, here, to be able to try and.
Yeah. But
If we
the
go-
reach can be.
If as long as it's sort of next to the as long as it's essentially next to the
Yeah.
creature's box which it stands in, which this is a huge creature, that's why it takes up a 3x3.
And
There's
it
your
makes
hand.
a strength saving throw, which I'm not confident in, but there is always hope.
Ooh. The hand manages to grasp it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It rolled
I
really
was
nice.
not expecting that.
Wow.
So as Agnes rushes forward, the hand sort of comes out and grasps onto the back leg, and you see it suddenly still trying to move away, sort of in this half gallop, but just stopped by a relatively small, in comparison, hand.
It's small, but it's strong.
Size doesn't matter. Right. Sano, your turn.
I run forward, yelling, "What do you mean, test myself? What do you want me to fight that thing? It's awesome! I don't want to kill it!"
Just
Do it.
kill it.
I'm yelling that to the obelisk.
All right. Well, you get no response.
Ugh.
It shall now try and break free of the grasp. 25. That's a bit more like it.
You had one round. One round to where it wasn't going to move.
I just have to move it slightly so I can actually rotate it.
It's like I could actually do anything.
I swear to God, if this is gonna be a game of cat and mouse where boys running all over the map just to try to punch the damn thing.
I tried to hold it still.
Are you fucking kidding me, Nate?
God, it moves quick.
Why?
It just comes charging straight towards you. Unfortunately, it used its action to break the grasp, but it just comes thundering up next to you, Agnes.
Hi. Fudge you.
I'll see.
Woo! Right. Well, I'd like to Hunter's Market first.
All right. You,
So I'm just
you
marking
feel
that
that
off.
even in this sort of weird state, you still sort of focus in on this bizarre creature, understanding slightly more about it.
And then I'm gonna shoot it.
Roll to attack.
It's plus 60. I don't hit it. Swear
You
to fucking God.
somewhat confused to what's happening. You're still glancing around to make sure there's nothing else. You release the arrow. It just sort of flies over and arcs over and thuds into the ground just behind it. Savangal, your turn.
Savangal goes a bit closer to the thing,
I swear.
walks a bit closer to the thing, so it moves away from Agnes and Cerno and decides to insult it. Actually, no, not insult it, cast Shatter on it.
It only has to move after you cast the spell. It's essentially no longer under the effect of your spell, so it's not afraid of you. It was just sort of when it took the damage, it fleed. So moving closer doesn't force it.
Well, she would like to cast Shatter on it
All right.
at around
Shatter
this spot right
is
here.
a D10. Okay. Yep. So it needs to make a Constitution saving throw. Unfortunately, it makes it save with a 16 in total. So roll your damage, and it takes half damage. So there's a booming sound from behind it as Savangal finishes muttering something and playing a short tune before pointing behind it. The creature doesn't seem to be too phased. Or your turn.
He's going to go ahead and to here, right to there. No, never mind. I wouldn't be able to do it that way.
Dude,
Yeah,
you
straight
can move.
You
a
can
straight
move
line.
diagonal.
Yeah. To right there, which should be. Yeah, that's the movement. Yeah, that's only 25.
Yep.
And with that, I'm going to run and do a leaping punch to it, which would be a 17 to hit.
Roll your damage. As you run forwards, sort of clenching your fists, you leap up, jump, and spring your hand slamming down onto this weird sort of mane that it has.
4 plus a 3. I'll do 6.
Your hand
and
hits, and you hear a slight cracking sound. Yeah, that. Oh, my hand! You realize that you literally just punched a plate of bone. It seemed to have dealt damage, but it wasn't maybe the smartest place to punch.
I am going to burn a key point, and I'm going to do 2 more attacks on him.
All right, roll to hit.
That'll be.
So your hand's still hurting. You go to swing again, and it kind of shakes its head, and you notice that you're about to punch one of its horns. So you quickly step back. As it kind of finishes shaking its head, you swing around with your foot and manage to land your heel onto part of its hide, dealing.
Oh yeah, dealing, and
an additional 6 points of damage.
it
You
needs
hear a
to.
somewhat of a crunch sound before you kind of back away. The creature seems relatively unfazed at the moment.
Wait. Because I chose the way of the open hand technique. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by your flurry blows, you can impose one of the following effects. So it needs to make a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone.
All right.
Hmm.
Check.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's the DC of my dexterity.
I don't actually know what it.
Either way, it was that or a strength check, and I was like, no, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, this thing's strong.
Yeah.
All right, you've managed to. Hang on 1 second.
I'm not gonna
just
lie.
need to...
I really like this new monk stuff. It's nice.
Did you finally read on all of them?
I mean, I read on this one and seeing what Earthbreaker Burn did. Just waiting to get level 11. Oh,
So as you slam into the creature, it sort of staggers slightly, but remains steady on its feet.
fuck. It was worth a shot. Oh yeah, that's all I did.
Right, so
Hello?
that means it's Agnes's turn. Yeah, it's 8 plus your proficiency plus your wisdom.
Okay, thank you.
Do,
All right.
do.
As you move out the way, it
That's what I should have done. Oops.
rashes with its horns towards you.
I was hoping it had 10-foot reach.
Nope. 5 foot. I had to check that, but 5 foot. I think 24 hits your AC, doesn't it?
Yeah, no.
As you step back, these horns lash forwards, tearing through your somewhat astral body, dealing. This is going to be fun.
Oh.
Yeah, I probably should have done it. to where it
21
can't
points
hit
of
me.
damage.
I'm on 2.
Sano, your turn.
I'm going
Oh
to
shit.
bolt, stand in front of it, gonna cast Healing Word, 2nd level. Agnes. Casting that. Alright, slash roll.
If I die here, does it really count
Plus,
in your ghost world, Cerno?
2.
I don't want to take that chance.
It hurt. It hurt a lot.
Hmm.
And as I'm, after speaking the words, I say, please stop! I refuse to fight you!
Alright. I'm a monk. I should be doing the same fucking thing.
All right.
Oops.
Well, it, not really paying much attention to you, decides to focus on the person who shot pointy things at it. And
What about the one who just came and punched him?
it noticed the pointy things being shot at it.
You missed though.
Do we get attack of
Wait.
opportunity?
Oh, no, no, it's a
Sano and
different one.
Bordu,
Yeah.
you don't, because it's still... Actually, no, wait, you do, sorry. It's... These large boxes, never fun.
That'd be a 25.
Oh, 25 hits, good
Yeah,
sir.
I should have
Yeah,
taken
all-
Ah.
the slink
I'm
shadow one. Ugh. Wish I'd taken the other feet.
As this hulking creature starts to bound forwards, Bor, you manage to land a punch onto it, dealing a bit of damage, but it still doesn't seem too phased. Cerno, Agnes? Agnes, you hit?
I'm not attacking it.
All right.
Let me just make sure I'm doing this right.
It's just normal
Oh.
damage. You slash at its hide, and the blade sort of catches one or two scales, and you see a slight red line along it, but you think it didn't do too much. All right. It makes its attack on Arsene.
Where did I
22.
Yeah, it hits.
Please make a strength saving throw.
Oh,
Ugh.
Twelve.
Okay, as you get charged into, you have the wind knocked out of you as you take 23 points of damage and find yourself prone on the ground. You look up just
Yay.
in time to see the massive foot of this creature stomping down towards you.
Wow.
Ugh.
23.
Wow.
as it deals. Come on, roll. 13 points of damage.
The rest of my health. Jesus Christ.
You out?
Yeah, I'm out.
Arsene, just not entirely knowing what happened, get slammed into, staggers back, kind of clutching at where the horns had gone in, falls to the floor, finds herself underneath a massive foot. You watch as her astral form starts to disappear.
Woo!
Arsene,
I don't feel
roll a
so-
death saving throw, please.
This is a straight D20, isn't it?
Yep.
8.
Mm-mm.
With that, Arsene's form.
Oh, bye. I've got night eyes.
Night eyes
Oh,
are still there,
God.
and you can still act as him. But Arsene has just disappeared.
Oh, God.
Savangal, your turn.
Oh, okay.
All right, she would like to cast the Dissonant Whispers again.
All right, it shall. That's a wisdom, isn't it?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a 13.
It made it.
All right. So roll your. It takes 5 points of damage. As you shout and hiss at it at a weird tongue, it seems to recall back somewhat, glancing around, but not frightened enough to run away.
Boar is going to.
Is that all
stand-
Savangal's going to do?
She would also can she cast a healing word or
No, you cast a first level spell already,
all right.
unfortunately. All right, Boar, your
Alright.
turn.
I'm going to run over, stand in front of Savangal, and I will hold my action to hit him. And I can't use a flurry of blows if I'm holding my action, can I?
No.
I will hold my action to punch him if he comes near the cat.
All right, Agnes.
Oh, also, no. Would it be? It would be an action to throw a healing potion towards Agnes, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind then.
What are
I
you gonna do,
am
Agnes?
going to place it here.
All right. Anything else?
I can't do anything else. I will step out of Cerno's way and shout at him, sort this shit out.
Cerno, your turn.
I cast Witch.
All right. I
Let me just-
believe.
It's on a hit the target. Okay, so I have to hit it. Doesn't show
Yep.
what the casting fire is with this spell. Wing.
It's Warlock, so I'm gonna be kind and let you roll your +4
I have,
for the Witch Bolt.
I have +4.
To hit is +4 on your Druid spells. I'm going to be kind and allow you to use that on Witch Bolt.
Okay, then 1d. 4.
How does someone calculate their initiative?
Initiative is literally your Dex modifier, and a feat affects it as well. All right.
Doesn't Night Eyes
Night Eyes.
doesn't he
Night
go
Eyes-
on your turn?
Night Eyes acts on your turn, so you're after the Triceratops.
Okay, 'cause my twinn's gone.
Hang on.
I was just saying if he had a better initiative than I do, but he doesn't.
Arsene will temporarily be over in this corner, just so you're still on the initiative order.
Thank you.
All right, Sano, that hits.
Oh, okay.
as this beam of crackling you reach for, and realize that already in your hand is your bit of willow stick. You point it forwards, feel the release of arcane energy surging forwards as it strikes onto the target. Feeling so-
Sorry.
All right. Triceratops' turn. It's going to happily gallop towards you.
I decided to gun the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
And is going to make a gore attack at Sano.
Oh, shit. This is what really worries me. Damn it.
There we go. 25.
Yeah, that hits.
All right. Well, unfortunately, it did not move 20 feet, so don't worry about making the strength saving throw. We are looking at... No. Let's try that again. There we go. 27 points of damage as these horns slam into you. You feel the breath being knocked out of you. Night Eyes.
Yay, Night Eyes! Okay. So, I want to try something. Night Eyes isn't happy at all. So he's gonna fly over to the Triceratops, which he does not know is a Triceratops. He's gonna just go land on it, but sort of like under this bit, you know, where the spikes from its head come up.
All right.
Hiding under. And he's gonna stab it with his tail.
Roll your attack.
Just double checking.
+6.
It's a stinger. 17.
17 hits. So Night Eyes lands on the nape of the neck of this beast and stabs its stinger down. Let me check. Constitution saving throw.
Of 11, apparently.
Yeah.
He's also now just digging his claws in and clinging on for dear life.
It rolled a 2.
Nice! It's now poisoned.
It is now
Ooh.
poisoned.
Go, Night Eyes.
All right. Savangao, your turn.
Was going to go before Samuel, seeing that his little buddy just got the shit out of him. He's going to run up and basically see if he can uppercut the Triceratops.
After seeing Night Eyes go and fly and land in the nape of its neck.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Feel free to try and
That is a
uppercut.
natural 20.
That is a hit, good sir.
That'll be 6 points of damage, and I will go ahead and use.
Do me a favor and roll a d6 as well.
Roll a d6. Okay.
Yep. You do 9 points of damage to the Triceratops. As you come around, catching it underneath its jaw and smashing its head back, you hear the slight sound of a squawk of a distressed dragon as it takes 5 points of bludgeoning damage, as essentially this bone slams
Hey,
against
Oz here.
it, crashing Night Eyes into its own neck.
Oops. Sorry, Night Eyes, and I will burn another key point to see if I can get 2 of those hits landed on him.
Roll
Which I have it here, which would be a 17.
a 1 hit and 1 miss.
Yeah, and it
Don't
needs
make it
to
run
do-
away.
No, what it needs to do, it needs to make a strength saving throw, is what it needs to do. That's 5 more points of damage. If it doesn't
Alright.
make it, it gets put 15 feet away from us.
You
Why
punch
would
as
you-
hard as you can, and it's just stood there, staring at you as you kind of pull your fists back and go, "Oh shit!"
Nate,
Oh.
Nate,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Wait, it says if the saving throw fails by 5 or more, the target falls unconscious for the same duration.
It rolled a 2,
It's
but it did not
crit
fail
damage.
by 5 or more.
Oh,
Got quite a high constitution.
okay.
Now it's Savagul's turn.
Alright, she would like to cast Healing Word at level 2 on Cerno.
All right, roll to heal.
I could just see Boy going up.
Also, Ninja, I said
Hey.
don't make it run away, and then you're like, no, it's just going to move 15 feet away from us.
Yeah,
Right.
it'll get it away from his little buddy.
Don't.
Yeah, but if you move it away, Jam can't get her hand to grasp at it.
And the
Oh.
hand spends every turn just chasing it.
All right,
Yeah.
is that all Savangul's gonna do?
She would also like to cast Inspiration on Cerno.
Unfortunately, that's a bonus action along with Healing Word.
Okay, then that's it then. Oh, wait, she can't insult it.
She can indeed insult it. It
All
should
right.
roll its wisdom.
You accidentally insult Night Eyes.
No.
It rolled a 13, I'm afraid, in
Oh
total.
my god.
The same as what it did last time. It got the exact same roll as last time you tried to do something. So unfortunately, your insults appear to fall on deaf ears, although you're not sure where the ears even are on this creature. Agnes.
Make a strength saving throw.
Really? An 8. Deal your crushing damage.
Squishy, squishy.
Squishy, squishy, squishy.
Let me know when
Alright.
it looks like
And it
it's
is
starting to get onto its last legs.
It's
It
restrained
does
and
appear to
poisoned.
be somewhat beaten up. There's a bit of blood coming out, and it's sort of thrashing somewhat wildly. So no, it is your turn.
You better do something, Zerno.
I try and jump onto it and start trying to knock it unconscious with my scimitar.
All right,
Oh my-
roll to attack.
Alright.
Oh,
Scimitar
this is going to
attack.
be amazing.
That hits.
And
Uh,
it's trying to knock it unconscious, not kill.
Doesn't matter. You're sort of slamming it with the flat of your scimitar, and it's kind of suddenly just shakes its head, and you decide it's the best idea to jump off now. And you land back where you started, as it looks not too happy.
Can I?
Okay.
Was it? Can I? Can't. Healing Word is a bonus action. Did I use my bonus action to doing?
No, you only used your action.
I'd like to use my bonus action to cast Healing Word on myself.
All right.
Just out of curiosity, what currently are you on?
8. Now.
Oh.
9. He's on 9
I was on 9. Okay.
because you were on 1 health and you healed by 8, and you
Yeah.
healed by 8 again.
Alright.
So you're on 17.
Hey.
That's good.
All right.
Hmm.
Not being very happy with being held, it's going to swing its head and try and gore Agnes.
How does it know it's me?
That is a... I have to do maths here. A 17
Yeah.
at
Can't
disadvantage.
even. Yep.
As the
Yeah,
8
damn Triceratops.
plus 6. 25 points of damage, unfortunately.
Wait a minute. See.
You're going to have to roll a natural 20.
Well,
Feel free to try.
I'm just rolling the 20 just in. Nope. Bye.
Agnes
Bye, my friend.
falls to the ground, her form slowly disappearing, the hand
Kind of like
ceasing to exist, although admittedly it was at double disadvantage because it's also poisoned.
Wait, hold on. Quick question. When they're fading away, is it kind of like when you kill Undying and she slowly starts fading?
I have no idea.
They're just fading.
I have never watched / played enough of Undertale to have any idea.
Okay.
Their form
Undertale's
hits
good.
the floor and they stop glowing as much, and they start to become more and more see-through. It is now
Okay.
Night Eyes' turn, who's just been somewhat crushed by.
Mhm.
Night Eyes don't care. Night Eyes upset and mad. He's staying. He's stabbing.
Stabby,
Roll an 8.
Unfortunately, his having been smashed, his sort of tail isn't quite responding quite as he wants, and he tries to sting down. His stinger hits straight against the scale at an angle where it just kind of skims across them.
He's moving back now. He's moving out of the way. He doesn't
Good
want it to
idea.
happen again.
Savangal, Boar.
I'll let Savangal go first this time.
He would like to cast Healing Word on Cerno again.
All right.
What about Agnes?
Wait, Agnes is still there?
Actually,
Or-
yeah.
Fading away, although you've said that you're casting it on Cernai.
Okay, because then I thought that was the same thing that happened with Arsene where she faded away. So if she's still there, then I cast it on Agnes.
I failed my saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's actually because you got stomped on.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Oh no, wait. The stomp. Sorry, the stomp took you down. Then yes, because you failed your saving throw. All right. Roll. Roll your healing. 11.
Agnes gets 11.
Agnes, you suddenly
Am
find
I
yourself
back?
awake and close, and quite close to the horns of the creature, which just dealt you immense pain.
Oh. I
Boar, your turn.
Punchy. The first one doesn't hit, but I will blow another key point.
As you try and punch, just oh, your fist against bone again. You should really stop trying to hit it in the face.
That
Also,
my
this ring is really
fucking
useful.
God, I wasted a key point. Okay.
Ah, ah! Your fists are really hurting, Agnes.
Fuck you, weird thing.
poison spray
That's
because
saving
daggers.
throw.
Everyone's too close. Constitution, yes.
Why can I not hit? I'm not using my flip. Okay.
Roll your
Plan was
damage.
to-
Really?
Seriously, whenever you bloody attack it, it rolls below 10.
Mwahaha.
All right. So your hand points out. The small sort of burst of green just seems to engulf the creature, kind of already looking greener than the green it already was. It seems to turn an even darker shade of green. Cerno, your turn.
I yell out to them, "Don't kill it!" And I go and attack again with my scimitar, not to kill. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Good on
matter, because
purpose.
as you yell this and go to swing, you just find that your scimitar hits against one of the three horns, not dealing anything.
Uh,
Not best pleased about what's happening here. No. We need to go. What?
Do we all get attack of
Actually, no. Yes, you will. And apart from Boar, because he's still in reach of it as it goes
Oh.
charging towards
Damn.
Savangal.
I'm assuming Night Eyes is still alive.
Make a acrobatics check for Night Eyes, which is +2.
Night Eyes just randomly has a little cowboy hat.
Still not
Roll
trying.
damage.
All my attacks
Cerno.
are not trying to kill.
God, 3? Really? Alright. I was actually half hoping you'd kill it with that, but never mind. As it goes charging towards.
Cerno's not
Savangal.
trying to kill it though.
Kill it.
Even
Kill
with
me.
disadvantage, that is 22 to hit. Savangal, please make a strength saving throw.
Wait, Night Eyes is still on him, ain't he?
I got a
No.
6 in my acrobatics.
No, Night
Yes,
Eyes
right,
can't.
right.
Night Eyes can't quite hold on to the sudden rapid movement. Savangal, strength saving throw, please. 21.
I'm out.
Hey, come
Savangal
join me.
collapses to the floor.
Cerno, you better fix this. This is your problem.
And as she does so, the creature lifts one of its massive feet and oh my god, it got a critical and
Oh, goodbye.
13?
Goodbye,
What's-
kitty.
What's Savangal's armor class? 14. Ooh. Literally, it just misses. It tries to slam down, but it seems slightly unsteady on its feet, just missing Savangal. Night Eyes.
Oh.
Savangal's good.
You're going back in, I'm sorry.
Roll to hit.
11.
Unfortunately,
No.
as he tries to slam his stinger back in, it again just sort of hits the scales at the wrong angle and just scratches against them. Savangal, death saving throw, please.
Wait. What? Okay. I was gonna. Okay.
I'm just gonna say we can.
You did.
Oh,
You
shit,
did
yeah.
indeed.
Oops.
Check when I roll that, so I can roll time. But will it
I
kill
think
it?
you have to. I think you have to continue using it, otherwise it disappears. You may want to check
Yes.
that.
Uh,
Savangal,
Disappear.
Hit the target.
you find yourself awake, about to be stepped on by a very, very large creature. Or it's your turn.
Okay. What I was gonna do was I was gonna and
Yeah.
use a healing potion on
over.
Samuel. But I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna punch it. 15.
That hits. Roll damage.
Yay! And I'm gonna do.
As Boar
that?
runs up, he pulls his fist back and slams it into the side of the creature. And Zono, you see that it sort of stands, teeters slightly before falling onto its side. However, as it falls, you expect to hear a heavy but as it falls, it just seems to pass through the floor, disappearing.
Oops.
Bye.
And I go ahead and I run up to Samuel and feed her the healing potion.
You go to grab your healing potion. Notice it's not actually there.
Oh fuck.
Agnes
Okay.
stands
Okay.
up and glares at Cerno.
As she's glaring, a sudden bright light fills everyone's eyes yet again.
Damn it, Cerno!
It wasn't me.
What? Why is the Triceratops
Oh,
back?
no.
Oh, fucking hell.
Cerno.
No,
Oh,
whoops, that was.
Oh, are you putting everything back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You get a health back.
Oh
Alright.
shit, I'm alive. Right, fuck with that.
Although, don't adjust your spells.
Okay. That means I
I've-
still have one fucking key point.
So, as the light fades, you find yourself standing in the same configuration to when you began this whole charade. You don't feel any damage to your person. However, it does feel like you have expended something during this combat here. Sono, you turn and look at this very weird creature. It seems to bend both of its front legs and give a long nod before looking back up at you and just slowly fading and disappearing.
I nod my head back and wave. I just keep waving nervously.
Boy,
Sort
you
of
stuck-
wave
I'm stuck on
nervously,
repeat.
kind of continue glancing around before you just hear. Everyone hears this, but only you understand it. Good. before there's another brilliant flash of white light.
Oh, it's in fucking Druidic, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What
and everyone finds themselves.
the flip out? Okay, we're down here.
I'm on the wrong map.
Yeah.
was gonna say.
I've got 3 different maps.
You should name them.
I have. I just forget which one you're on. And as the light comes back, you find yourself all stood around the obelisk, glancing at each other, somewhat uncertainly to what just happened.
Can we go
You
back
check
to bed?
yourselves. You don't appear to be wounded. You don't seem to, Arsene, you don't seem to have lost any arrows.
Sweet.
However, you do feel slightly drained. Spellcasters, you have used your spell slots.
Woo.
Well, that's not fair.
Devongle investigates to make sure that Arsene is not flattened at all.
Arsene,
Okay.
anything but flattened. The memory of the
Vigorously
pain
patting.
is still there, but no evidence of it happening.
That's fine.
So I
I've
know.
had worse.
So I know what on earth just happened.
I'm dumbfounded. I'm still waving, sitting down on the still waving.
He's
dumbfounded.
just stood, face almost pressed up against the pillar, just sort of waving at it. As he does this, everyone else notices that a familiar unicorn, bear, and hawk just come out of the pillar and just
Oh,
slowly
look,
walk
bear
off,
that
fading.
licked himself while we were fighting the goblins and met Squishy.
He just said grooming, not.
I
No, I'm
I
thinking.
look at them as they're walking off, and I go, "What was that?"
They
You
just
said there was
slowly
writing
fade.
on the stone?
Hmm?
Was there writing on the stone?
On this one, whatever was there has been long degraded.
Well,
So no, you have some problems.
Some.
and you don't?
You know nothing.
Agnes.
I don't have
It's
being
Do I feel any
Transported.
different? Do I have anything on me?
You check your pockets, you don't appear to have gained any weird items.
Well, that's anticlimactic.
We could always smash this stone pieces so it never happens again.
No,
No,
don't touch it.
No.
Don't touch it. I put my hand on it.
I think it was snow.
You say don't touch it and you put your hand on.
I'm gonna go to sleep now. And he just sits onto the floor, lies on
What?
the ground.
Isn't it like during the day? Isn't it like midday?
You look
Thurno,
around,
Can you turn into
it
that
is now-
creature? Thurno, can you turn into that?
It is now afternoon, and no, he cannot turn into a Triceratops. Unfortunately, it is challenge
Oh.
rating 5.
Yeah,
That's
I can never transform into that.
bullshit. I thought
Maybe
once
a
you reach
baby one?
level 5, can't you?
Then what?
No, with
He
I can only transform into. It's at a certain level. I can transform into things with a challenge rating of 1, I believe.
of one.
But there are
Yeah.
there's the Moon Circle druids which can transform into things.
It's like a quarter of their level, so at level 20, they'll just be able to become a Triceratops.
Oh,
That thing's beefy as hell, dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a baby one? Can you turn into one?
Cerno's
I-
a bit too stunned at the moment to be able to do much.
Or can you carry him and we keep going with what we originally planned on doing?
Yep. That means I still have 3 key points used, and I have 1 more that I should totally use correctly.
What the fuck?
I
was
don't know
that?
what that means.
I'm talking out of character.
I got that.
Switched to my voice, yeah.
I don't know what it was, Sano, but you need to figure it out.
well,
Whatever that was.
sure-
The stone and the
Apparently-
thing that was talking to you. I don't know what it said, Let's just go.
And with that, I think we should probably call it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yay.
Well, that happened. I kind of want to fight the dinosaur again.
No. No, thank you.
As long as it's not in real life, so I don't accidentally die.
I mean, I didn't take anything of damage.
Yeah, look at you.
What did Scene see when she actually faded away?
It was just white for an instant, and then she was suddenly back with all of you guys.
Yeah.
It was like
It's
no
fine.
time passed between her getting trampled and then appearing next to them. So for all she knows, you all got trampled to death.
I just went to sleep. That's what sleeping feels like.
Oh,
Mhm.
no.
So happy fun times, things to discuss.
Yes.
So what?
Yeah.
Yeah. On that
Okay.
that note, we'll end the stream here. Golf still happened, I
Yep.
think we can all agree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need to ask Nate some questions. Stuff.
Fun.
I don't think he could answer any of mine. Real stuff.
I just want to confirm what he said because I might have missed something in my scribbles.
So thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time and stuff.
Bye.
Bye.